What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO, episode 63. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
I'm back. Everyone relax.
You're back from Real America.
Everyone relax.
Back from Real America. How was it?
It was great.
What Vita games you play?
Castle Invasion Thrown Out.
How was that?
THRONE. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Just came out in October on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Vita.
Okay.
It's a tower defense game, 50 stages. You're like trying to get 3 stars in each one by doing certain things. I got 100% of the trophies in it. I thought it was fun. I mean, it's not like this dramatically fantastic game. It's not the best tower defense game I've ever played, but it kept me busy. It's probably, I don't know, I probably played it 7 or 8 hours before I did everything because I went back and got all the stars. And
how does it compare to Pixel Junk Monsters?
Oh, it's not on the Pixel Junk's level, but
that's what I think.
But it's different. So basically on the left side, it's the same screen for all of them. It's just a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
And on the left side is like a castle, and there's like a comedical story where a king's trying to take the castle, and so he sends all his men out over and over again.
Yeah.
And so you have like a bow and a crossbow and like a spear and a slingshot that all do different kind of damage.
Sure.
And you're just trying to keep everyone away from the castle, and it's pretty straightforward. There's some cool quirks in it, like there's every once in a while drunk people, like just drunk peasants will be in there, and you don't want to hit them.
Yeah,
you can, but then they like faint and they throw their bottle at the castle and do a ton of damage.
Can't do that. No.
So it was they kept me busy, and then the bigger thing was, so I actually went and downloaded and bought like a slew of games. I bought God, I can't remember the game that's based on the fonts. Do you know what I'm talking about? That came out like a couple months ago on Vita. I can't remember the name of it now. I don't know. I can't remember the name.
Wait, what's based on? What do you mean?
It's based on fonts. It's like a side scroller, like based on like Helvetica and all these things.
No. This does sound
Typewriter. TYPE:RIDER. Okay, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Didn't play that yet. Downloaded for free. Letter Quest Remaster, which I know you played a while. Great game.
Yeah,
really cool. I like, again, the challenges there of doing everything without vowels or certain letters. And
I like that. That's why it works as a great mobile game, especially for a playing game, right? If you can play through and you're making progress, you feel like you're making progress. But at any point you see that, oh crap, there's still 3 challenges on this level I didn't get through. I didn't do the way they wanted me to do.
Yeah, I liked it.
Cute and fun.
And then I downloaded something else, Exile's End, or whatever that game is called. It's like kind of a Metroidvania, but I didn't play that yet either. I mean, I had intended on playing more, but with the exception of the flight there and the flight back, I basically didn't touch my Vita at all.
Of course,
my nephews are playing it a lot, but I didn't. I didn't have my PS4. And then yesterday I got home, or 2 days ago I got home, I slept. I slept from. Good Lord, man. I didn't sleep much when I was home because the kids are running around.
You got to soak it all in. The family time, Colin.
It's really quite exhausting.
Yeah, of course.
It's quite rigorous. Got home at like 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday.
Right.
Watched some Black Mirror. Ate a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Then I went into...
Where did you get the cheeseburger from?
Rome.
Nice.
On Union.
Yeah.
Then I went to lay in bed.
Sure.
Erin's cousin and her friend were there. They were watching.
In bed with you?
No, they were watching in the living room. They weren't in bed with me. They were watching in the living room. I mean, I understand how, based on the structure of the sentence, how you kind of draw that conclusion, but they were watching Idiot Abroad. And I went into which is a funny show, but I went into the bedroom, laid down, and was playing Vita, fell asleep, woke up 1 a.m.
Ho!
Got up for a little while, did something. Probably some candles lit and all those kind of things. And then I basically, lit some candles and...
You play the Crystal Bassoon?
The Crystal Bassoon, and then watched a little TV. Then went back to bed, woke up for football.
Of course.
So I'm feeling pretty refreshed. But the point of that particular story was that I had nothing to play on PS4, so I was playing Ironcast still.
Ironcast so good. I told you about that one too.
And I think I'm just going to take credit for that one.
I'm sure you will.
Then what happened was we got the Final Fantasy 15 code.
Right. How much you put in?
I downloaded it.
Yeah.
And then it does that tricky thing where it's like, oh, it's only 13 gigabytes. And then here's another 40 gigabytes.
Jump on in.
Just
and you try to jump
menu.
in and it's like, you're fucked. You're like, God damn it.
So I was like, that's fun. So that's when I was playing Letter Quest.
Yeah.
And it was Erin and my anniversary. So I went out to dinner. I came back and then that night and played just a half an hour. I got through the tutorial. Now I'm pushing a car down the street. And
how's it feeling?
I don't want to say.
It's 30 minutes. Are you interested to play more?
Yeah, definitely. But I hate those fucking characters already. I just hate them. I hate them.
The boy band?
Like, I just hate those characters. And I was surprised to see, like, our friend Vince wrote a review I read a little bit of it, saying, like, the characters were some of the redeeming qualities of the game. And I'm like, if that's true,
you're fucked.
Then we're in bad shape. But the game's getting 8s and 9s, and not a huge surprise there. So I'm interested in getting back into it. The conundrum is that The Last Guardian, we should be getting that imminently.
Yes.
And maybe by the time this goes up. And I kind of feel like that should be our priority. Like in terms of
you got Tim obsessed with Final Fantasy.
Exactly.
We can keep playing whatever the fuck we want.
Exactly. So, and we have to go to PSX. So everything's all fucked up. So
when Tim chimes in here, for topic of the week, or topic of the show, I guess. Topic of the week's copyrighted by IGN.com, trademarked by Pierre Schneider. When he comes in for topic of the show, which is ours, totally different, we'll have him give a little synopsis of, I think, his first 2 hours with Final Fantasy, what he thinks of it. But yeah, busy, exciting times.
It's historic times. I was saying to Tim on Colin and Greg today, because these are 2 games that, may have never even come out.
Yeah.
Then they're coming out within a week of each other. And I think that's kind of extraordinary. So in terms of people that have been waiting for a long time for these games, as we all have, it's a pretty meaningful time. And I hope they're both very good. It seems like Final Fantasy 15 is what I thought it was going to be, which is good. And, we'll see what The Last Guardian pans out. But that's basically it.
Gotcha.
How about you?
Thanksgiving, I had a similar thing with you and your Vita, where I laid out a battle plan going into the vacation of all the things I was going to do. I was going to platinum Watch Dogs 2. I was going to get through the new waves of LEGO Dimensions characters, and then I wanted to start in on Rez.
You didn't do anything.
No, I played more Watch Dogs, but I did this thing where I spent time with people and friends and families and stuff, and it was weird. And that's what I did every one of the days. And so it put me way behind on everything I needed to be. And let me tell you right now, in terms of this Watch Dog Platinum, fuck this multiplayer. Now, not that I hate the multiplayer. I'm sure some people would like it and enjoy it or whatever, and that's good on them. You and I, we aren't multiplayer kind of guys. But this going out and getting bounties and bullshit, there's this one, Colin, of you have to be you take out 5 of the people in the bounty hunter mode. You have to take out 5, because there's a time where you have to be the bad guy and take out a guy coming for you. That's fine. A guy coming for me, kill one guy, fine. I've done that, great. Hack one guy, great. I've done that, that's fine. Some of these annoying as shit. The hacking game, annoying as fuck. You have to find somebody who just doesn't know what the hell's going on to really get it done and be fine with it, which I was able to do. Because sometimes the game, the one where I got the hacking trophy of hacking another player, right? It happened for me is that I got dropped above him on pretty much on the Golden Gate Bridge, and was able to look down, hack him, and then he was in the middle of a firefight, so he didn't have time to worry about me hacking him. And I was like, great. The other times I was getting dropped in, you're dropped in, he's on the other side of the wall. It's like, well, how the hell am I going to get anywhere where this guy can't get to me and immediately fuck this up because it takes forever to build? That's garbage. And then the other same too with this this bounty hunter mode, right? Of they have to kill 5 guys. It says, take out 5 bounty hunter dudes. And I was doing it, and I'm jumping in there, and I thought I was making progress because sometimes the cops, I'm getting dropped in, the guy's, 900 meters away or whatever. So I'm getting in a car, driving over to go get him or whatever. Cops kill him before I get there. Sometimes I'm tossed in there. Other, bounty hunters that are allies or whatever, they've killed him before I get there. I'm like, oh man, these are adding up. And it's like, no, you have to be the one apparently to kill this guy 5 times. And which sucks in case that if I'm wrong on this and this trophy is glitched, which it probably isn't, but you know what? I think I got 3 in a row yesterday and then started getting the other thing. Of course, multiplayer mode's all fucked up still. It wasn't online forever. Then sometimes I'm like, all right, cool, let's do the bounty hunter mode. Spins and searches, million regions, doesn't find me anything. It seems like I have to go do a real mission in between every one of these when I just want to get this fucking trophy off my fucking mind. Because once that's done, that's done, and then it's 3 of the final missions, and then I'm done. And
seems like the game's not doing very well.
No, they put out a statement about it last week. Danny and I covered it. Shout out to Danny O'Dwyer again. Thank you for covering it last week. Go vote for him at thegamewars.com. They were like, it's underperformed the week 1 sales of what Watch Dogs, the original, did, which I think most people would have expected, seeing as how the original Watch Dogs was touted to be this next gen, But it's still, their statement actually is interesting, because their statement last week was, it's underperforming, but we think that, and it's totally PR spin, obviously, reviews and streamers and all this other stuff, there's a chance for this game to still be super successful.
No, I don't think so.
Super successful, no, but it will be an interesting one where we talk about, Bethesda doesn't believe in the IGN, the review model anymore. There is a different life out there now. But I would have to say what you're seeing now is pretty much what it would be. Although I still feel, and I won't beat a dead horse for the listener, but last week with Danny, I was talking about this, where the people I was playing with over the weekend, not this weekend, but last weekend, we were all saying how this game has no business being this good and this fun, and it's a game that snuck up on everybody I was sitting around talking with. These are all our pals and Scott Lowe and those types, and how that was really interesting. It reminded me a lot of when Far Cry 3 dropped. And Far Cry 3 dropped, and nobody really gave it a second look. There was a million other things to play. And Mitch Dyer at IGN, I remember telling us in Game of the Year meetings, no, you're sleeping on this. You have to play this. You have to. And I'm not saying this is as good as Far Cry 3, but it's got that same thing of this is so much fun. This is such a great world, And none of us knew until we sat down at break to play it. If that'll carry over to sales, who the fuck knows?
Far Cry 3 was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Really, really, really great.
And that's why Far Cry 4 was good and Primal was good. Yeah. And the fact they just keep making the same game.
Yeah, I never beat Far Cry 4 or Primal. But, I was looking at my trophies. I've been playing a lot of games. Just really kind of deep in it. Mm-hmm. Deep up in the game.
Are you up the game's ass that you're always saying don't be up the game's ass?
I'm getting close. I'm getting pretty close. Yeah. But I'm not quite there. I just feel like it. I'm in
if you're in the mood, go for it, yeah.
Yeah, because between Battlefield, I mean, I beat Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Call of Duty back to back to back. And I really enjoyed my time playing on, people were busting my balls saying, like, why do you always say that you played those games on hard difficulty? I'm telling you so that you understand that my experience might not be normal with the games in terms of difficulty and especially in terms of game time. Because people were saying, like, how long did Battlefield 1 take? And I'm like, I don't know. You don't ask me. Like,
yeah. You're not the median.
No. But I will give a special shout out to, so Infinite Warfare, I beat it on Veteran, and then I was like, I'm not going to go out and get the collectibles. I'm kind of over it. I'm not going to get the platinum anyway because so many of them are relying on zombies. But I did go to play the zombies in Spaceland mode. The game's fucking cool. Yeah. Like, it really, really, I don't know. I didn't play last year's too deeply, so it could have been like this too, but I feel like there's like an incredible amount of depth to that particular mode that I wasn't seeing
what's happening?
in zombies.
What about it?
Just like I like the collectible card system of like having these cards activated and then unlocking obviously new sections of the map as you go, which is not necessarily novel in that respect, but I just like the thematic kind of 80s vibe to it. And then, there's just something cool about that particular mode that I would play online with people if I didn't have to play with random people, but I'm not going to like, bother too much more. Hey, the game feels so good though. Like I was playing it a lot by myself and you can buy these things that like revive you automatically, so it makes it a little easier for you, but it was pretty good. I wanted to give it I actually deleted, I have the disc and I deleted it off my, like the game data off my system. And then I'm like, I should have done that. Yeah. And so I went and downloaded my save and like off the cloud and then put it back on and played that for a little while. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. So I leave it on there. And then I did jump back into Tomb Raider for a little while in addition to Ironcast, because I was playing Ironcast and I don't think we talked about it on the show too deeply, but Ironcast came out, I think, last year, but it's 2015, but it's a great game. It's match 3 meets mech combat. It's pretty good. But then I was playing Tomb Raider, and I'm like, I think I have to start this over again. Like, I just don't know what the fuck's going on.
How far did you get into it? I thought you got just through the first...
To the Soviet compound, I think.
Yeah, okay,
so, I mean, it's not too much, but I was playing it and running around. I'm like, I just don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, that's always a bummer.
So, because I think that's one of the games I really would like to get through before the end of the year, maybe over break.
Sure.
So Final Fantasy 15, The Last Guardian, and then
Tomb Raider.
And then maybe Tomb Raider, yeah. Because nothing else after The Last Guardian, that's basically it.
Yeah.
So... unless there's some random downloadable games that might be interesting. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see what's on that there report this week. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is PSI Love You XOXO. It is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It is the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet, and it posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. That sneeze has been brewing for like a good 15 minutes.
Yep.
You okay?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
And podcast services around the globe. Before we jump in the show proper, let's go through housekeeping. #1, PSX is happening. This is our final show until PSX. Remember that Sunday at noon, that's December 4th, we are doing our panel, PSI Love You XOXO live at PSX. Then we're doing a meet and greet right after it at 1 p.m. That's all, of course, in Anaheim. However, it's important to talk about the scheduling of this here PSI Love You XOXO. So what's happening is Saturday, they're doing the press conference in the morning at 10 a.m. They called it, you see this, the PSX Showcase? They're trying to get away from the press conference now. No, yeah. It's a press conference, all right? They're going to sit there. They're going to tell you about cool video games and stuff. What we're doing is starting a pre-show, 9:30 in the morning Pacific time on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We will talk about what we think is going to happen, even though we're going to do that here, but we'll have updated things on all the rumors and leaks and all that jazz. 10 o'clock, we'll switch over, watch the stream along with you, react live, and then whenever the PlayStation press conference /showcase ends, we will pick up, do a post-show reaction thing with you that will be your PSI Love You XOXO episode for that week. That will be episode 64. However, that one will go up, we'll do it, we'll then put it all out to the podcast services that Saturday. Then Sunday's panel will be a bonus episode for you that we'll post as usual Tuesday at 9 a.m. Everything make sense there?
I think so.
Here's the other thing I want to talk to you about, Colin. A while back, you might remember, I said, hey, developers, you got something at PSX you want people to come see, you got to tell me about it. We'll throw you a little bit of promotion here. I got one from Yuchi. You ready? Yuchi says, hey, Greg, thank you for giving us another chance to promote a game that we have worked tirelessly on for the past several years. As you mentioned to Mr. O'Dwyer, we live and die on these passionate, loyal, small communities. It would mean so much to us to give our game another shout out before PSX. Here goes. Fallen Legion is a high-speed action RPG with an easy-to-learn but hard-to-master skill-based gameplay. When not in battle, players are tasked with on-the-spot decision-making that will have both long-term and short-term consequences. We really took the kind of funny best friends feedback to heart, because if you remember, this is a game we debuted. We did a Let's Play for back in the day from the spare room. Feedback to heart, and went the extra mile with our PS Vita version of the game. There will be more news about this at PSX. For those of you planning to attend PlayStation Experience this week, we will be there with a new playable demo of Fallen Legion on PS4 and, for the first time ever, the PlayStation Vita. Then, Yuchi's a good guy, spells out this name, and I'm still going to screw it up, right? Xanthi Hewen. That's your name? Xanthi Hewen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. The voice actress for Princess Cecil and many other beloved RPGs will be at the Fallen Legion booth on December 3rd at 3 p.m. for a meet and greet with fans. We hope to see you there. Thanks again. No, thank you, Yuchi, for sending this one in there. And yes, Fallen Legion, of course, a Let's Play we've done here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. It will be the one that I annotated to at the end of this episode. Colin, let's begin the show with what is, and forever will be, Roper's Report. Time for some singular possessive news.
There are 6 items on this.
A PSS Bake a Dozen.
It's a slow week. So the first thing I want to do is just a PlayStation Experience rundown. I think you already hit this up, but I thought people might be curious if they were going to PlayStation Experience. What's happening at the show other than our own panel and the keynote address?
Sure.
So, and then also what games will be there. There are about 100 playable games.
Did we cover this on another show, or did we cover this on PS I Love You last week? When was the blog posting on this? When did Big Sid Schumann put this up?
This post is from, that I saw here, was from November 28th. We had a list of developers and publishers.
Gotcha. So we're expanding.
Yes.
Keep going.
So the tantalizing thing here is that on Saturday, December 3rd, after the keynote these are all Pacific times, at 12, noon, 1, and 2 are 3 unannounced panels.
Unannounced. They won't tell you what it is. There's only 6 panels at PSX this year. We're one of them. 3 of them top secret.
And then so that will be fun. So we assume there'll be some unannounced games being shown, but who knows? And then December 4th, Sunday, when we're there, at 10 a.m., Horizon Zero Dawn is going to have a panel with Gorilla. And then ours is at noon, which is most important. And then
with
2 o'clock,
accessibility,
making games for all gamers. So about accessibility features in games, which I think is pretty cool and an interesting thing. And I'm seeing more and more of those in games as we play them. Again, that game Hue, that actually I think comes out on Vita this week, and it came out on PS4 some time ago. It's a game all about colors, but colorblind people can play, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Nice.
And then I thought, since why not? Let's read a list of the games that will be playable. Okay. So these are playable games that will be on the show floor according to the PlayStation blog. 2064 read-only memories, which has been in development for a long time. 3-on-3 freestyle, Arrow, Ace Combat 7, which we've been curious about. Yeah. Batman Arkham VR, which is already out. Bound, which is already out. Boundless, Brawlhalla, Chasm, which I can't wait for. Cosmic Star Heroine. I don't know what's going on with this particular game.
You've been banging the drum on this one forever, but then you went quiet because they went quiet, and this is where the hell's this game?
First PSX was in 2014 when we were still at IGN, was when I had first discovered this. And I'm like, yes, oh yes. This particular game looks fantastic. For people that don't know, Cosmic Star Heroine is a 16-bit style role-playing game on PS4 and Vita that really looks like Phantasy Star, the Genesis classics. It was supposed to come out late this summer. They've been tweeting about it. I think they're just still working on it. So disappointing, but we have to wait. Cryptark, Death Tales. Now, Death Tales has been floating around for a while too. We played Death Tales at the original PSX, and it was that free-to-play Vita game. Do you remember with that kind of interesting dude that was showing it off? He was dressed kind of like vampiric.
Yes.
It was remember when we played The Order and it was on this outside thing, and then on the inside was like a bar and there were Vita games there. He was there. That was that game. Death's Gambit, Destiny, Rise of Iron, Disc Jam, Divide, Drawn to Death. And again, we'll have David Jaffe on our show.
What up, Jaff?
Earth Knight, Eider, E-Valkyrie, Everything, Fallen Legion, Fantasy Strike, Farpoint, which looks fucking awesome, Flint Hook, For Honor, Full Throttle Remastered, Future Unfolding, Future Grind, Gang Beasts, Garu, Mark of the Wolves, Nog, Graceful Explosion Machine, which is a great name, Gravity Rush 2, GT Sport, Hatsune Miku, Project Diva, Future Tone, Hearthforth, Alicia.
Hell yeah. Our first ever PSX shoutout for 2016.
Here They Lie, Horizon Zero Dawn, Human Fall Flat, I Expect You to Die, Jenny LeClue, Detective Vu.
And I'm a big Jenny LeClue fan. I've talked about this one. Yeah.
You like Flan?
I fucked that up, but you know what I mean. I'm a fan of it for real. It's a game you should look out for. I do like Jenny.
Just Shapes and Beats, Killing Floor 2, which is out. Knights and Bikes, Let It Die, Loot
Knights
Rascals.
and Bikes, another game that looks fantastic too. I think
that's the game.
Full disclosure, I kickstarted that one.
That's the game from the dude from
two dudes from Media Molecule broke off to go do that.
Mages of Australia, which is Dan Edelman's other game, in addition to Chasm. Masquerada, Songs and Shadows, MLB The Show, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which looks great, Monsters and Monocles, Mosaic, NBA 2K VR, Nidhogg 2, Night in the Woods, Neo, which looks awesome, Abduction, Orcs Must Die Unchained, Persona 5, Woo-hoo! Plague Road, Pax Nora, Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin, Pyre, Rain World, Rainbow Six Siege, which is interesting. That's probably the oldest game on here. Randall, Raise the Dead. Did that game ever come out?
Randall Raise the Dead?
Randall and Raise the Dead. Raise the Dead, RAY''S, the Dead.
Not to my knowledge.
That game has been bouncing around for a while. Refactor, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, Riggs, Robinson the Journey, which is out, Salt and Sanctuary, which is out, Shadow Warrior 2, which I think is out, Shakedown Hawaii, Smugglecraft, Snake Pass, Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, which I played. Did we see... No, we saw Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 at GameStop Expo.
Right.
Sonic Mania, Star Wars Battlefront, Rogue One, Scarif, Star Wars Battlefront, Rogue One, X-Wing VR mission, which I can't wait for that. Static, Street Fighter 5, Sundered, The Church in the Darkness, The King of Fighters 14, The Last Guardian, Tooth and Tail, Uncharted 4, Thief's End Survival. The survival mode looks pretty cool. Until Dawn, Russia Blood, VR Worlds, Watch Dogs 2, Zing, The Land Beyond, Yakuza 0, Yeek, or Y2K, I'm sorry, Y2K, Yeek. Why is it spelled Yeek? Y-I-I-K.
Because it's the Roman numeral, too.
No. It says Yeek, a postmodern role-playing game. That's the name of it now. And Yooka-Laylee will be playable. So that's that. So We're excited.
Good. Yeah, I can't wait.
And then meet and greets. So what it says here is, for the first time ever, we'll be doing meet and greet and autograph sessions at PlayStation Experience. Pack your rarest gaming memorabilia and get them signed by the following. So Saturday the 3rd, from 12 to 12:45, Tim Schafer, our friend from Double Fine. And then 1 to 1:45, 2 to 2:45, and 3 to 3:45, TBA signings 1 through 3.
These are the people leaving their panels, just like us, probably going straight over there.
Right. And then 4 to 5:30, Yoshinori Ono.
Oh, the Yosh!
And Capcom Cup Finals. And then on Sunday, 12/4, 11 to 11:45, John Gonzalez, who wrote Horizon Zero Dawn, and he wrote Fallout New Vegas as well, in case you want to get his autograph. 12 to 12:45, TBA signing number 4. 1 to 1:45, us, Greg and I, and Tim. 2 to 2:45, Yasuyuki Oda from King of Fighters 14. 3 to 3:45, Masachika Kawada from Resident Evil 7. And then 4 to 4:45 and 5 to 5:45, TBA signings 5 and 6. Collectible cards will be back again for the third year in a row if you want to get those, which are cool.
Yeah,
you basically get those to make a full deck by going and seeing different games and different panels. And there will be merch as well, which we're excited about as well. And some of the plushies they're showing are dynamite.
Let me see. Oh, Parappa.
I have Sackboy plushie, but I want the Sackboy plushie. Okay, so that's it for number 1. I just thought I'd get everyone caught up. We hope to see you there at PlayStation Experience 2016 in Anaheim, California. I think that's how they say it.
It's very much how they say it. And if you can't join us there, remember Saturday, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Watch along and then reaction stream and all that jazz.
Number 2. No Man's Sky has gotten its first substantial update nearly 4 months after the game launched on both PlayStation 4 and PC. Hello Games is calling this update 1.1 the Foundation update, with more updates promised for the future. I'm going to go ahead and correct that for me. As the developer points out, 7 smaller patches were released in the 6 weeks after the game's release. While nearly 3 months since then, the team, quote, has been hard at work on development, testing, and certification for the Foundation update. It won't be our biggest update, but it is the start of something, end quote. The studio continued saying, quote, the discussion around No Man's Sky since release has been intense and dramatic. We have been quiet, but we are listening and focusing on improving the game that our team loves and feels so passionately about. Positive or negative feedback, you have been heard, and that will truly help to make this a better game for everyone, end quote. So interesting news in there is that there will be a bigger update. In the future.
Apology writes into kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can. It says, if there is to be an update someday for No Man's Sky, do you think we'll see it at the Game Awards? A public mea culpa, so on and so forth. Then he came back and edited it, and he said, and now, since the V1.1 update has dropped and I've already played it, the question can change. Will this be enough for folks? Would anything be? What should Hello Games do from here to win people back? Now, the update, I read about it on Kotaku the morning and went up there. Sounds cool. You know, they're going through changing the way planets work in certain ways so things aren't as rare, But the base building stuff actually looked neat, unlike Fallout where it looked like it shoved in. And a game where I'm exploring planets, setting up my own base seems neat, and if I can expand it. I haven't jumped in to play it yet. I was too busy this weekend. Is it going to be enough for people? Of course not. Can anything ever be enough for this? No. No Man's Sky is always going to be the butt of the joke. I don't think it could possibly go far enough into the future, full circle enough with the next big update to ever make people go, all right, we got there in the end. Because even this Like when this update went out, all the Shawn Murray tweeted again finally, and he was just like, if it was something to the effect of, if you knew what it was like on the other side of this, we're very proud of this, whatever. And people are like, next time think about releasing a game with things in it and da. There's so much hurt and vitriol and anger already out there that I don't think you can go through and fix that burn.
No, I said on Colin and Greg Live this morning when we discussed it for the first time, because we just got back from the break, that there's no good option for them. So out of all of the bad options available, this is the best one. That they can't just, Hello Games, I think, will never release another game. And so, at least under that name and with this team, how can they possibly get away with that? I mean, like the and I'm not saying they can do what you want, they can get away with it, but I would never buy a Hello Games game. Until I saw out in the wild, and everyone, like they're going to be hurt. They ruin themselves for this. And I've said in the past that, hyperbole aside, they really did fuck this up, and they're not the only ones culpable. Sony's totally culpable for this too. And I would say again, and I'll say it again, mainstream game media is totally responsible for this. Hyping this game through the roof. I remember as clear as day seeing this game for the first time at E3. It won Game of the Show from a bunch of sites, and I'm like, why? It's not. There's no way this game can deliver what it's saying it can deliver. I knew that from the beginning. I feel like I was one of the only people that wasn't disappointed, because I said from the beginning, like, there's no way that this game is what you think it is.
Yeah.
And as people said, a mile long and an inch deep, and that's what it was. And so I feel like that media culpability has to be brought up on this as well. Sony's PR culpability of getting involved in this game and making it sound cool and giving it all this E3 time. They really didn't do Hello Games any favors, but Hello Games didn't do itself any favors either. Shawn Murray certainly didn't do himself any favors. And as I said when this all started, and we kind of we had a more reserved tenor about it. We were like, we don't really know, and where's the information? But I will again point to Jim Sterling's, I think, very fair video that he did on the Jimquisition, where he's like, well, this does seem kind of out of control, right? But here is what he said about X, Y, and Z. And he did, it does seem like they lied, or at least, lie is a strong word. I don't know if they lied. They had big intentions that were not seen into the game, and that's not uncommon. You always hear about how the sequel is often the realization of what the game's supposed to be, and that most of what's supposed to be in the game gets cut out. And we know a lot of developers. We know how that goes. But they really did screw this game up. But I don't know if it was just them. I think that if this was an indie game for $40, a Witness-style price point, with very little exposure or less exposure, with less promises made, with less of a lead time, this is a great example of a game that needed to go away for a long time instead of being shown over and over again. I think that people would have accepted it for what it was, but because the media insisted on hyping it so much, and because people insisted on this being something that it clearly wasn't going to be, and because Hello Games continued to promise things that weren't in the game and talk about things that weren't in the game, well, that was a maelstrom of fucked, So what are they supposed to do? They only have a few options. They either stop working on the game and walk away from it, which I just don't think is allowed. And possibly with Sony, with contracts signed with Sony and stuff, they probably have to patch it, and they probably had things that they wanted to get into the game to begin with. Or they work on it the way they're working on it, and at least they look honorable.
I mean, the thing about it is, what we have to try to separate all the time, right, is the vocal minority. And how many people are burned as bad as they wouldn't buy it again. Well, you know what I mean? I would buy a Hello Games game again. Again, though, I don't know if I would buy what they're selling on E3's stage, which I didn't back then either when they did this and people were saying that. And I was like, wait, the Joe Danger team is making a world that never ends and has infinite planets in it? Like, that doesn't sound right. I remember and I don't remember what E3 it was, but I remember you and me being on the same team arguing for some other PlayStation exclusive probably of that should have been game of the show because it actually showed more gameplay than we knew what it was. And so that was the thing of like, all that aside, I enjoyed No Man's Sky, but and I always go back to the fact though that my expectations had always been, what the fuck is this game? You're not making a case for it. And then when me and Kevin actually got to go play it, I was like, oh, okay. I haven't been paying attention to this. I'm not running off trying to think about being a space pirate or whatever. I'm thinking about running around scanning shit. And when that game came out, that's what I did. I ran around scanning shit. And I was like, all right, fine. I think there's enough people who are like that, who played it and it wasn't for them or this, that, the other. I think there's the vocal minority that is super riled up and thinks he's a liar and they're going to do this and they're going to say mean things on Twitter and do all that horrible shit. Somewhere in the middle is the truth in terms of like what the actual, I think everyone knows. If you were to ask the general populace and have a vote, No Man's Sky was a failure, right? Period. I think that's what it's going to be. But I don't think the failure or the failings were so egregious that you have people who are never ever going to do. I mean, look how many chances did Peter Molyneux get before everybody was like, "Yo, no, dude, we're not playing this ever again." That's true, but I do disagree that I was talking to Dagan, my brother, about this past week where I was like, I can't think of a bigger, more high profile catastrophe actually in games, like really. And some people were being like, "Well, what about Alien Colonial Marines or something?" Yeah. I'm like, well.
I don't know that it was even this high profile. I don't know that we had any real expectations for the game. It was a bad game, but I don't remember being this crazy. Some people were bringing up even Mighty Number 9 or something. I'm like, no, again, like those games weren't on E3 stages at first party conferences with massive first party banners and commercials and marketing and PR, first party PR taking over for the game and all this kind. I'm like, I think this is one of the most catastrophic failures in games ever.
Where do you put it up? Where do you compare it to The Order?
Well, The Order, I mean, and honestly, The Order is a better game. I mean, like from what I played of, at least The Order had a purpose and a beginning and an end, and they didn't really not deliver what they said they were going to deliver. We just had higher hopes for. In other words, like Ruin those guys had a vision that I don't think was realized because they were so obsessed with the technical fidelity of the game, which was great, but the game didn't turn out well because it's 5 hours long, and they had there was something there. They just didn't realize it. I think The Order 1886 is a better game than No Man's Sky, and I would if I had to prefer one or the other, or recommend one or the other, I'd recommend The Order 1886 because at least it's a game, and I played No Man's Sky for, 5 hours or less. Yeah. And I knew I didn't like it from the beginning, and I tried to give it my all. I didn't like it because of what it was. I did not like it because of what I thought it was going to be or what they didn't promise. I didn't even know. I didn't really care. I wasn't paying attention.
Well, see, doesn't that come down? Because I'm the opposite, right? Where I would totally pick No Man's Sky over The Order. And like, not that I hate The Order. No Man's Sky, again, and I know this is, but I guess, again, throwing out all the marketing bullshit and who failed where and all these different things, right? No Man's Sky delivered what I wanted it to deliver. A chill experience of going around. It's the same reason, right, why you don't like play Minecraft, right? Like, you don't want to just go around and explore and make up your own game, make up your own world.
It's also the reason why I think, in a way that I feel like I didn't like Dragon Quest Builders either that much. I actually deleted it, I think, off my Vita because I was like,
you're never going back.
I'm never going back to this game.
See, that's the thing is, for me, No Man's Sky, I didn't play the patch this week, but even before the patch, I've been wanting to get back to No Man's Sky. I want to just go chill out and listen to podcasts again and go through and get the best ship and figure out, I have like the silver trophy for walking or whatever, so I'm on my way to the gold one and all this other shit. Like, that's the thing of like, I still like that game. I still find endearing qualities, but it's very similar to like every time, we get people yell in the comments, right? Of like, they're sick of hearing the question of like, I just bought a Vita. What should I play? Or should I buy a Vita? Or should I buy a PlayStation 4? Like, it's about what your personal preference is.
Right.
If you want if you want a story and you want the technical fidelity and you want it to look like, The Order, then I would definitely tell you to go buy The Order if that's your kind of game. I would never recommend to you, No Man's Sky or Minecraft or whatever. That was what was so interesting about Dragon Quest Builders, is that it was a game type you're not a big fan of fused with a game world you love.
Yeah, that I really wanted to love. I'm looking here on, because you were saying like a vocal minority, but is it? I mean, that's the
I think that again, it's not the vocal minority of it was a disappointment, they didn't live up to their word. I'm talking about the people who feel so burned they would never buy another Hello Games game again. And I think that it also is I think the future of Hello Games is that they will continue to work on No Man's Sky expansions. They will continue to work on updates. They will continue to build the game, and they will try to make this a redemption story. And I think the redemption story wins enough people over that, yeah, they get to make another game. They get to do another thing, but it'll be looked at more as, all right, cool. You're not going to be on E3. You are making another Joe Danger. You're not out there making this game that clearly got away from everyone and nobody knew what the hell they were actually doing until it was too late.
I'm looking at, I think you could be right, first of all, but I'm looking at, just because we only have anecdotal evidence, right? And that's the anecdotal evidence that you get about, well, is it a vocal minority who really dislikes the game and stuff like that? Well, I'm on Steam.
Mm-hmm. But this is the same, yeah.
78,819 reviews marked mostly negative.
Sure.
But most recent reviews are mostly negative.
Yeah.
And I can't, because I have literally no fucking idea how to use Steam.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a way to see how many concurrent players there are and what the max is and all that. I have no idea how to look at that. But as far as I understand, with things that were going on a long time ago, like that number is catastrophically bad. It might be better now that the updates.
Sure. But again, this is going into the YouTube comments. By that, then the people who watch this show hate it. The people who watch our content hate us. You know what I mean? And granted, a lot of you fuckers do, and we don't give a shit. Look at us. But I think that's the thing.
They keep coming back for some reason.
It's the thing.
For another week.
It's always my argument with me in Yelp reviews, right? Where when I noticed on Yelp that I was only reviewing when I was mad, when I was angry, when I felt like I had been wronged. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel that way. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's just as many people who bought No Man's Sky and were like, "Oh, this isn't the game I wanted it to be," but it's not terrible. It's not fucked. It's not.
It's just boring.
It's not the same people would say that about Minecraft, right? I mean, like I think there's and I'm not saying No Man's Sky is Minecraft. Clearly Minecraft's a better game. Maybe one day with some of these updates, they get to where they should be. But I'm saying, I don't think the earth's been salted. I think if there's one thing people like, it's a redemption story. And so if it is Shawn Murray dying on the cross here and his team working in silence for X number of months, X number of years, making all these updates, finally getting to a point where he's going to sit down with Patrick Klepek and give him like a 4-hour-long interview where they ask everything and figure out what happened, and he apologizes and says, they fucked up and they've learned so much, and Then you add another 2 years of development time to that, of them working on another project and someone believing in them. Because again, whether you think the game was boring, whether you think the game was interesting and fun and not obviously compelling in the same way Uncharted 4 is compelling, I think there is a publisher out there who would still be like, oh, okay, cool, let's give you another shot. Because there's enough fucking crazy ass developers who have made fucking terrible games that continue to make games.
Sure. My theory, based on the heightened nature of social media and the unforgiving nature of the consumer, is that at the worst, he has joined the ranks of Phil Fish, Dennis Dyack, Peter Molyneux, just never again going to be accepted part of. Now Phil Fish made whatever the fuck it's called, Super Hypercube, but which is a great game. But those guys, so at the very worst, it's going to be on that level. At the very best, they're going to be in some sort of purgatory. Shawn Murray is no longer a Tim Schafer or a Cliffy B or like one of these guys that can do no wrong that everyone's really. Now he's at worst in purgatory with the likes of, I don't know. Even David Jaffe would be one of those guys, right? Our friend David Jaffe. Like, some people really just don't like David Jaffe. Some people do. He's a little too outspoken.
You threw, can do no wrong. Cliff Bleszinski, man. People are polarized on Cliffy B.
I feel like Cliffy B just says whatever he wants in his game.
I agree, and that's why. But I mean, that's also how you get away from all this. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same way we keep doing.
When has Cliffy B delivered a bad game though?
Oh, not a bad. Oh, I mean, people don't like his games for sure.
Yeah, but they're good. So I mean, like, that's just Gears of War is good.
Yeah.
So my point is I don't know. I think we're getting into a little bit in the weeds here. I just think that Shawn Murray is. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're on a razor's edge right now in terms of what they do and how they spin this and how they get out of this. The only way out is hard work and eating your fucking hat for a long time now. And understanding that, you're talking about Phil Fish, he just made Super Hypercube, which I didn't even know. I didn't even know he was behind that game. And that's how it's going to have to be for Shawn Murray, right? Like, until he comes out and delivers this interview where it is, hey, this is everything that went wrong. Let's talk in an open, honest, let's have all these conversations, blah, 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 blah. He has to just be in the background. But then I say that, but again, I mean, how many, you bring up Dennis Dyack, like, Dennis Dyack had a bunch of chances. It wasn't like he did one bad game and everybody's like, you're over. Same thing with Molyneux, right? Peter Molyneux had a whole bunch of chances before people were like, all right, what the hell? But even now, Peter Molyneux, I feel, probably could make another game and it would probably get headlines and it would probably do this. And would people buy it? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll see. I'm not saying that, by the way, that Shawn Murray deserves this kind of treatment, but I'm just saying that everyone's always looking for a scapegoat. And I think that Shawn Murray didn't do himself any favors by not defending the game. Their silence,
that is 100% correct.
That was a huge mistake on their part. Like, they really should have came out and been like, we believe in this game and this game is good and there are people that enjoy it and we're going to update it and here's what we're doing. Instead of going away in silent, a very cowardly kind of move, in my opinion, to just tuck tail and run like that.
No, that's the nail on the head. I don't know if it's not understanding social media or how to communicate with the community, but that's totally what they should have done. That it comes out, people are flipping out, and been there responding not to every comment, but to the giant broad strokes, right? And like when a video like from Jim comes up, that's the whole thing of where this went wrong, right? The well's been poisoned. And how much do they want to go through and fix this? I'm talking as if I was there and how I would fix it and what I would do and come to the community hat in hand and all these different things. If Jim put up that video, I would have put up a video responding to or talking to or reach out to Jim, be like, hey, you want to interview me about this? Not shot for shot, like, you put up this video, now, hey, fuck you, Jim Sterling. It would have been like, hey, I want to actually, he brought up all these points, which are really great. And I want to tell you why you don't see other players. And I want to tell you why there aren't these animals that you saw before. And I want to run you through right now what our update plan is and where we're going and what we're doing. And we're working on this update 1.1, that's going to get out there and do all these different things and blah, blah, blah. They need to be over communicating everything if they hope to turn this around. I don't think they ever will. I don't think they're ever going. I'm not saying this has a happy ending. I'm just saying I don't think it's as bleak right now as it could be. I think they have a chance to do this. I don't think they will come out in the end and be like back to, all right, great, we're going and everything's fantastic. I think they'll make more games as Hello Games.
We'll see. I there is no right or wrong. I don't think we'll ever see another Hello Games game though. Like I maybe I don't think Shawn Murray's done. I don't think a lot of those people are done. I don't even know anyone else at the studio, but I just don't know. I just don't think so.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I do agree with you that I don't think a publisher would work with them, but we're talking about someone like 505 Games or something, not someone. Sony is about as big as it gets, and they really did shit the bed. But I do again say that Sony's complicit.
They had something. Yeah, they knew.
Number 3. Telltale has broken its silence about the 3rd season of The Walking Dead. Yay. Episode 1 of the 5-episode arc, called The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, launches on December 20th for $4.99 and will be available on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, as well as elsewhere. A season pass will cost $24.99. A retail version of the game will be released on February 7th, though only episode 1 is likely to be available at that time, with access granted to the other episodes thereafter as they're released.
100%. Yay! Are you excited?
Yeah, I am. I got to get back to 2, and I'm wondering if I should just go back.
2?
No, I didn't even start it.
Okay.
I played 1 on PS3 in 2012. So that's the last time I played a Walking Dead game.
Gotcha.
And then I played a little bit on Vita in like 2013, but it just didn't run.
Yeah.
So I think I might just start it again on PS4 so my shit will carry through.
Gotcha.
Number 4.
That's another one you got to put on your list, by the way. Batman will be
Batman
will be wrapped up by the holiday. You got to get in it. Because
definitely.
it's good. Episode 4 was good.
Definitely. Number 4, Game Informer has been running quite a few interesting details about Mass Effect Andromeda in the last week or so. Just as a side, you should go read Game Informer for the full details. This is a very distilled version of what they've been talking about. For starters, as we heard, Andromeda brings back Mass Effect 3 style multiplayer. Game Informer says the multiplayer's, quote, framework is similar, but BioWare is making some key changes to make the experience deeper and more rewarding for players of all skill levels, end quote. The big changes seem to focus on the quickness and fluidity of the experience, as well as giving players more reasons to stick around and keep playing and leveling up, and various character alterations. So basically what they're saying is the game should be faster. One of the things about Mass Effect 3 is that you can kind of, because it was very horde mode-like, is that you can kind of plant yourself in certain places. There's a lot more going on to make you keep moving. Powers are tied to individuals instead of like a cooldown that's tied to the group, which is interesting. And there's like prestige leveling and regular leveling, which are separate from each other to give you more reasons to play. So there's things like that. The big changes seem to focus on... Oh, I'm sorry.
You liked multiplayer in Mass Effect the last time around,
It was
right?
fine. Yeah.
It was one of the rare ones I thought you played, or was it just because you were reviewing it?
I was reviewing it, so I had to play it. As for the far more important single-player campaign, loyalty missions are returning, which we talked about, as well as ground vehicle called the Nomad, which feeds into a far more expansive planetary map with enemy bases and lots more to discover and overcome.
Yeah. Bless you.
Excuse me. I never sneeze. It's weird. It's ominous, actually. So maps are much more expansive. There's ways to like send forward teams to find enemy bases. There's a lot of shit going on there as well. EA's Origin store currently has 3 versions of the game listed. A standard edition for $59.99, a deluxe edition for $69.99 that will come with some armor and weapon sets and a digital version of the game's soundtrack, and a super deluxe edition for $99.99 that comes with everything from the deluxe edition plus 20 weeks worth of co-op premium packs. I think you get 1 per week, if I read that correctly. So some Mass Effect stuff coming out. Still no release date.
All right, and you're with me now, right? Something's wrong.
Yes.
Okay. This ain't coming in spring.
I think it probably will. But I think that
spring.
they are trying to nail the date down. I think that date that was leaked in the Dark Horse comic is probably the real date. But I think they're probably nervous about it. I think it's obvious.
It's going to get delayed.
Number 5, according to GameStop, which listened into an earnings call for the retailer GameStop. So let me write this down because I actually wrote it. So according to GameSpot, which listened into an earnings call for retailer GameStop.
Got it.
PlayStation 4 Pro is, quote, off to a strong start, end quote. At the retailer. PlayStation VR sales are also reported to be good. The biggest takeaway, however, is that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare has, quote, underperformed, end quote, though to what extent remains to be seen. Meanwhile, Games Industry International reports that PlayStation 4 had its strongest week since the console launched in the UK.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
why you have a new reason? You have a reason to buy it. This is what I was talking about with Pro, right? If if you go out and buy a Pro and you already owned a PlayStation 4, and there's a PlayStation 4 you weren't going to buy.
Sure, that's true. And finally, number 6. It looks like The Division has been quietly making a comeback, mounting player numbers comparable to its launch window. The word comes by way of PCGamesN.com, which parrots a statement from Ubisoft. That statement says, quote, since the release of patch 1.4, we went back to the daily active users we had at launch because people were so impressed. People realized we meant what we said. Some players left the game earlier than what we thought. Then we had to make that tough call. Do we keep providing them with extra content, or do we stop everything for a while, settle down, fix everything, and then once the game is where it should be, then we start providing more content? And this is what we did, and the community was super happy about it. Even though they were disappointed at first, that we had to push back the next DLC releases, end quote. So it looks like The Division, similar to another Ubisoft game, Rainbow Six Siege, is showing some extra life, which I think is very, very nice.
No, that was one of the things the other day I was getting a hankering to play The Division, and then when we were talking to Alfredo about what this patch did, I was like, fuck, maybe I gotta hit up that old Fran Mirabello III, see if he wants to climb back out there. Because if you sit down and you fix your game, people respond positively. Hello, games.
That's it for the news. There's no wrap-up this week. Again.
Why? You slacking off?
There's just no new games to announce.
Okay. I see how you're doing
Not that I care about anyway.
No. Now, usually, this is where I give you a little funny segue, and we would do the upcoming list. I say we pause that. We do topic of the show.
Sure.
Tots. Tim Gettys.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us, please. Of course, you're on the PSX panel with us. We thought it only fitting to bring you in. To bring these. You got to get right on these microphones. I know you've never used them before.
I don't know. This is weird to me.
Yeah? It would be in this position, getting over here.
Everything about this is weird. It feels super dead on. I've never sat here.
Oh, you never in the middle?
I don't think
Look
so.
At you.
Straight in the middle.
Big boy today in the big chair. Tim, you of course host the Gamescast. Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
You also have played the most Final Fantasy 15. Before we get into the topic of the show of our PSX predictions, I want to know what you think of Final Fantasy 15.
I absolutely love this game so far.
Yeah.
Has issues, for sure. This is not necessarily the game that I waited 10 years for.
Okay.
But the game that I got I'm very happy with it. It's fun. And I mean that both from a gameplay perspective, but also from a atmosphere, story, character perspective. And I think that that's different than what Final Fantasies have typically done.
Gotcha.
I think the last time we kind of really saw that was Final Fantasy X-2, when they did the whole J-pop, K-pop girl band thing. But that still kind of had the super ridiculous anime storyline. And the characters, they sang and danced, but that felt completely disconnected to the story.
Okay. It makes sense here.
Here,
the boy band.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not a boy band. It's bros.
Yeah.
It's bros going on a road trip. And I mean, the fact that this game starts off with the car breaking down, a lot of these things we've seen in bits and pieces over the years, but it starts off with the car being broke down. They're all bitching at each other and just talking shit like friends would.
Yeah.
So many bad jokes, so much stupid puns. It's like, it reminds me of us a lot. Like, and that's cool. You know,
they have a Kevin?
I don't think we've met Kevin yet.
Okay.
Unless Cindy, the sexy mechanic, might be.
Yeah, she's got some boobies hanging out.
She does. It's a little weird.
Yeah,
it is a little weird.
She's the VR experience too, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, that's nice.
But I
want to see that experience.
It's great, man. I mean, I'm
good. I'm glad you're
living up to the hype for me.
I'm glad.
The thing that I didn't like was the downloads and the amount of patches, the amount of freaking ridiculousness. But you know, once that all came through, I'm 2 hours in. I want to do nothing in my life but play. So that's a good sign. I just like it. It feels. I was telling Colin this earlier on Colin Greg Live. I like how it feels less like a typical JRPG with all the tropes and stuff. And it kind of doesn't ever feel like a parody, which I think is important. It kind of feels like it's like they're like, all right, we do need to change some things up, but not go fully Western, but it feels Western in presentation, which I think is an important thing. This feels like a AAA game. And I think that's cool because back on the PS2, Final Fantasy felt like that. When Final Fantasy X was coming out, that was like a big thing of like this, that was a huge deal. And then once 12, 13, 14, whatever, Final Fantasy kind of became less of a marquee title. And I think that this is really going to bring it back.
Okay. Yes. Well, I'm sure you can stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gamescast and Colin Greg Live for the next 2 months as we all play through this game and try to go through and figure out what the hell's going on.
I can't wait for you to play. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to.
I'm
at that point. I'm at that. Do I just want to? I feel like I got to just commit and get these goddamn Watch Dogs trophies done.
Yeah.
3 mission trophies left. 1 online multiplayer. 1 and I'm done.
I agree. I think you should do that first.
Thanks. Give me a pound.
To not go too long on the Final Fantasy thing, I just want to say it's before you play the game.
Yeah.
The characters and story interaction.
Noctis.
Stories might not even be the right term to use because like so far the story's been pretty light, but more just like the characters and the world building. That combined with the ridiculous amount of side quests and just go kill these things, go get this. It's like it's a Greg Miller game.
Ooh, that's exciting. And also, Noctis's name reminds me of Knockwurst, and that makes me think about sausages and such. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to play everyone's favorite kind of funny game, predictions. This is where we will give you 5 predictions from each one of us for PSX 2016, and then Mitchell Morgan, M-Dog himself out there, will tabulate the results, get down to the decimal point for Colin, and we will decide who wins. To remind you, I won the E3 predictions.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No.
Yeah, it's true. That happened. You can go listen to that episode. Tim, back me up.
I believe you.
Thank you very much.
I've never lost.
I don't think that's true. I don't know about that one. You know what I mean? Like, I think you lost the E3 predictions, and I'm pretty sure even back in the day, like Sam Bishop would beat us and Vincent Janino would beat us, and then they wouldn't be on that show. So then we just had to debate, though, who on the results show.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, I guess.
All right, well, Mitchell Morgan, keep us all honest as always. Colin, as the man who lost the E3 predictions, would you like to start?
Sure. Number 1. In coordination with the release of Rogue One, Sony will announce a new gamut of Star Wars games on PlayStation Network, including trophy-enabled versions of Super The Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think that's a little out there.
I don't know. They released 4 of them last year, or earlier this year. So I think that we'll just get another whole set of them. I think Super Empire is pretty safe. Well, it won't necessarily happen maybe here, but I think it's possible. Yeah.
I like that.
I like it. I like it. It's an interesting one. It's not one of the, because I feel like each one of us have one that is very specific to each of us that we all make. So we know we're all staying away from each other. We're staying clear on those.
We definitely are.
All right. What do you got for me, Tim, on your first prediction?
So my first prediction is Crash Bandicoot Remastered Collection. We'll get a trailer showing gameplay, showing off all that stuff for the first time. Obviously, they want to stay away from the Skylanders stuff because they did that at E3. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to step on that with showing the trailer for this because then everyone would have been excited about this. Although I will say, I haven't talked about this yet. I played the Crash Bandicoot Skylanders thing yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
They nailed a lot of stuff in that.
Yeah?
At the end of the day, it's still Skylanders.
Does it go
so
Ooga
it's a
Booga?
little... Yeah, they do. They like a lot of that stuff. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm very excited about that. In addition to the predictions, though, and I feel like that's a surefire prediction.
Yeah,
that's
yours. You've been hanging out
that
for a
has
while.
to happen. But in addition to my predictions, I'm also doing the patented Tim Gettys Year of Dreams Get Hyped moment brought to you by Gatorade for each one of these. Crash Team Racing being added to the thing. Now here's the thing: you're going to say that's impossible. I heard you, Colin. You say it's impossible. I do agree that I think it is impossible.
Sure,
but it's important to note that this is the Year of Dreams and fucking anything's possible at this point. So if I will these things into existence,
to clarify for the Judge Mitchell Morgan.
Yes.
Every one of these, you have a Gatorade # Year of Dreams moment on there. Is that part of the real prediction, or should this just be a pie in the sky, whatever?
I mean, I'm making predictions here.
So you're adding them in. These are all the decimal points in there.
Why the fuck not, you know?
All right, cool. I like that. I'm going to start for my first prediction with one that I've been saying for a long time now. Uncharted 4 single-player DLC is revealed, and I'm saying it's a nice play session on stage. I'm saying they say spring 2017 right off the bat.
Okay.
I agree.
It's time.
I think
They're
you're
ready.
Right. I also think top of the show.
Yeah. My concern with my own prediction, which I'm not changing, is that it might be a trailer instead of an actual play session. But I think you do it. You have Bruce out there with the controller in hand.
See, that's interesting because Sony at E3 this year, trailer.
Yeah.
No gameplay.
But this is PSX.
It is PSX. PSX is a little weird and inconsistent, though, with some of those things. I'm excited about this year because so far, we've had E3. The Paris Game Week, not too much going on. TGS, not too much going on.
Sure.
Gamescom, nothing going on. Then there was the PlayStation 4 Pro conference, which, looking back on now that we're past it, I'm happy nothing happened because now things are going to happen here.
I agree.
So I'm going to say I'll go with the trailer. I agree with the trailer part of this.
Start off with the
trailer, and it's about Sully and Sam.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Colin.
Number 2.
Sucker
Punch's new game will be the conference's end cap. It's neither Infamous related nor open world and represents both an all new IP for Sony and an all new direction for the studio.
Now, when you say how much do you think the trailer gives away?
I don't know. I think that maybe something akin to Spider-Man where you kind of can assume what it is without seeing it. I don't think it's going to be open world. I don't think it's going to be, and obviously anything to do with any of the Infamous products.
Sure.
I think Sucker Punch's next game is going to be a linear experience.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that's true.
Because when I look at the slate of games, all I see are open world games.
Sure.
And I just don't know. God of War's now open world, or at least semi like Tomb Raider-ish. Days Gone, obviously, open world. Horizon, open world. I mean, how many of these games do you possibly want? So I think Sucker Punch's new game will be revealed, and I think it's not Infamous related, new IP, linear game.
Okay. Timothy, number 2.
Number 2 for me. You know, obviously people get crazy. We're talking about Capcom. People are talking about Devil May Cry 5. You know, and you're like, no, come on. They're talking about Remake 2. You're crazy. That shit ain't happening here. Marvel vs. Capcom 4. So many rumors flying out there. People are believing. Am I caught up in the hype? Yeah, I'm caught up in the hype. I believe. I fucking believe. There's been so much fiascos going on with the licensing and like the whole bullshit between Marvel and Capcom with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and all that stuff going bad. I was telling Colin this earlier. I believe that Marvel is trying to do for games what it did with its movies. So the MCU, they're trying to do something like that with games, come out, and the best foot forward would be Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Because that's a franchise people can trust is going to be good. You get that out, you get the Spider-Man game out, you get all that. Sounds like a good time. Mm-hmm. So I believe that it's real.
Okay.
I believe that it's real. Now the question is, will it be at the conference or will it be at the Capcom Cup Grand Finals? Because that's the rumor going around.
Okay.
That's the rumor going around. Now, my patented Tim Gettys Year of Dreams Get Hype moment brought to you by Gatorade. At the conference, we see a Street Fighter trailer for Street Fighter V. Whatever. They're going to call this the new round of Street Fighter V. Wave 2 or whatever. See Ryu, see Ken. They're fighting. They're doing their thing. Marvel character comes in. Spider-Man swings in. Iron Man flies. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, it's a swerve. Marvel vs. Capcom 4, that's great. But then, just like Street Fighter V being PlayStation 4 exclusive, except for the PC stuff.
Which worked real
We're going to get that. And, there's a lot of rumors about PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2. I say, fuck it, nip it in the bud. Marvel vs. Capcom versus PlayStation. You don't even need to call it that. It could still be Marvel vs. Capcom 4.
They're pretty cool.
But you get those characters. That would solve the problems because PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale sucks. And it wasn't Smash Bros. And it should have been. But if they go into this, they're in a good fighting game. You don't need to pad your roster with a bunch of shit characters. Get
Who
the
is
ones
the shit
people
character?
care in there.
You're going to tell me Toro shit
I'm
character?
not talking about Toro. I love Toro.
Thank you very much.
But
Sir Daniel Fortescue.
You're going to talk about the history, the lineage of PlayStation 1? Sweet Tooth
get
and his
them in there.
mines?
We got to get them in this game. That'd be great.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. My second prediction. I have a lot of good ones on here. I'm not going to lie, Colin. I fucking knocked it out of the park this year.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
Yeah. One I've amended while we were doing this, and I got to figure out the wording I want on it because I know you'll pull some Mitchell Morgan. He'll hold me to whatever I say. So let me figure out the wording for that. That'll be number 3. What I'm going to say right now for number 2 is one I've said before too. Drawn to Death is re-revealed on stage, and then it's released on stage. This is Drawn to Death. It's this much. It's this price point of a game now. It's a full-fledged thing. Here, all the characters show this thing. You liked it the last PSX, and guess what, everybody? It's available right now for you to go play. You can buy.
It's possible.
It better be.
I don't like it, but it's possible.
Colin, number 3.
Number 3. New PlayStation 4 sales figures will be revealed, bringing the console to 50 million units sold. For a context, on September 30th, it was 47 million units. So they'll come out and say PS4 has sold past 50 million units worldwide, including with the Pro, of course. That's it.
Okay. I think that's pretty safe, yeah. Timmy, number 3.
So PSX has a history. Trolling. They like to troll. All right. But their trolling has led to some amazing things. First off, first PSX, Final Fantasy VII.
Hey, we're getting the Final Fantasy. Oh, it's just
on PlayStation 4. Then at E3, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Last year, Sean Layden, Crash Bandicoot shirt. No Crash Bandicoot. Then E3, Crash Bandicoot. So my prediction is there will be a troll of that level where they'll be hinting at something somehow, and then that will be then announced at E3. Like normal. Now,
this is going to be an interesting one because you give you the 0.5 now with the possibility of a 0.5 down the road.
I'm not here to win. I'm here to fucking have fun and get hyped, motherfuckers. All right, here's the deal. So obviously, Sean Layden, I don't think they'll do the T-shirt thing again, but maybe they will.
Yeah,
they saw success with it.
Yeah.
So does he come out in a PS All-Star shirt, in a Jet Moto shirt, in an Ape Escape shirt, in a Parappa shirt? No. The patented Tim Gettys Year of Dreams Get Hype moment brought to you by Gatorade. Here's the thing. Hype isn't necessarily something that you really want or care about. It's more about what is going to be the moment that makes you go, what?
Yeah.
Knack. Motherfucker comes out in a Knack shirt.
No,
the
Shawn.
internet would lose their fucking minds.
Do it.
They cut to Mark Cerny in the
Knack
crowd.
2 Knack 2 is in development as far as we know.
So there you go.
Hopefully it never is strangled in its crib. Never sees the light of day. Number 3. Now stick with me because this is the one I switched around a bit, all right? Big Daddy Gio Corsi comes out. He talks about 3 to 5 games coming to Vita. Now this includes cross-play things, but he says Vita. Vita is mentioned in this thing. Not only that, this is where I'm going to toss this in, all right? He is going to say, available right now. I'm not announcing these games. I'm just giving you updates. Available right now on the PlayStation Network for the Vita, Salt and Sanctuary, Papers, Please. He's going to give you 3 to 5 games.
Papers, Please apparently still in dev.
Exactly. No, exactly. Hey,
they're working on it for 20 minutes a day, every other week.
3 to 5 games. PlayStation 4, obviously, in this, but they're coming to Vita. You got Vita games there. And right now, to tide you over, Salt and Sanctuary.
Cool.
Papers, Please.
Boop.
Colin, number
4. Sony will announce the phasing out of a PS3 game in the monthly PS Plus library to make room for a monthly free PSVR game. So 2 PS4, 2 Vita, 1 PS3, and 1 PSVR per month moving forward starting January 2017.
Yeah.
You love the points, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
That's great. I like that. I like that a lot.
Number
mine
4,
is also PlayStation VR themed. PSVR Wave 2. We'll see a bit about. We've had the first wave. This includes Resident Evil 7, Battlefront, Final Fantasy 15. We saw a lot of these E3. I think we're going to get a bit more information, maybe some release dates, something to pad out the rest of the year. Gang Beasts. Tim Schafer's always doing stuff. Double Fine's always doing stuff.
Always up there.
But I feel like they're running out of stuff for him to do.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they've already remastered.
Full Throttle's coming in. There you go.
So that, right. But my prediction, because I think those are easy, is that there will be a big game announcement for something to look forward to for VR that makes people go, ooh. All right? The Pat and Tim Gettys Hero Dreams Get Hype
Mitchell
moment
Morgan,
brought to
you
by
can't give him
Gatorade.
any points for that unless there's a crowd shot of somebody going, ooh.
Uncharted VR. Some Uncharted VR, something or other, some experience, not obviously a crazy thing. But
Sure.
I think that, they already busted the load with the Batman and Star Wars and Final Fantasy and all that stuff at E3.
Yeah.
I think they need something to keep the VR hype going, and I think Uncharted's the right tool for that job.
I agree. That would definitely be.
Maybe something like Tomb Raider, Laura's Nightmare.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Go through and investigate Nate's house.
Like the attic or
Yeah. My number 4, Bloodborne 2 is real. It's announced with a dope teaser trailer. 2017 is what they say, but it gets pushed 2018.
Man, you screwed 2 of my predictions.
I'm sorry.
Should have got out sooner. The only other prediction I have that's not on here is this one, number 5. Matterfall's gameplay will be shown off for the first time, along with a 2017 release window, likely in Q2 of 2017. It'll be a platformer. It'll be like Resogun, and it will take place in a like an oval.
Yeah.
But you'll be platforming, and what will end up happening is that, per the name and per what we kind of got out of the trailer. And again, I'm friends with Housemarque, and I've talked to them a little bit about things, but I don't know I've not seen footage of the game. I think it's going to be that, like, it's a platform where things are constantly falling and you're constantly changing directions, going back and forth, whatever. So it's going to look like Resogun.
Gotcha.
That's
my prediction. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, your final prediction, Tim.
my final prediction.
Yeah.
Kojima will be there. Death Stranding will be talked about. Something will be shown.
Yeah.
Don't think it's going to be anything substantial, obviously. Maybe what engine it's running or like some tech visual or some shit. I think it'll be more than concept art.
Okay.
We'll get some video of some sort.
Gotcha.
The Pat and Tim Gettys Your Dreams Get Hype moment brought to you by Gatorade.
Which aren't really brought to you by Gatorade, right?
Oh, no, I wish. No.
Just making sure.
Oh, yeah,
the more you say it, the more genuine it sounds. Like, damn, did he get a Gatorade sponsorship?
Every single one should have brought to you by someone else. But I just got question marks. I don't know. I don't know what I wanted there because I was thinking about it. I was like, what would be the thing that'd be like, damn, son? And I was like, what if he talks shit?
For Death Stranding?
Yeah, Kojima comes out, talk shit. Some survive, like, fuck you. If that happens, it'll be at the Game Awards. So that's my only thing. He's not going to use his Death Stranding time to talk shit about someone else.
Sure. Yeah.
He can use his Game Awards time to talk shit about someone else. So I don't know.
I'll toss
you
it in
guys
there.
Help me get hyped?
Yeah. No, I think. You'll get your first cut scene from the game, and it'll be a scene of Norman Reedus talking to that other guy whose name I always forget.
Talking to an infant.
But you're. But it's the invisible infant.
Still don't know what a whale of some sort.
Yeah. But no. Remember, there was the whole thing a few months back of. Kojima did a cryptic tweet of a VO booth of a guy, and you saw like the arm of his jacket, and then another fan ran into an actor whose name I don't remember, like Mads Mikkelsen or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe that's not right. Is it? Okay. Nick was on that Colin and Greg Live, I remember, and he knew the actor. But then the fan took a photo with that guy outside of a VO recording studio, and he was wearing that jacket, and everybody's like, he's on it. Maybe they have that cutscene ready, and that's what they show when they come out to talk about it.
Okay.
It was just.
I think they should just go away.
Where's your baby? Where's your invisible baby?
Where's your invisible baby?
That'll never happen.
All these fucking psycho mantises.
I can't wait to see what kind of psychotic shit this game's about. It's gonna be
my final prediction:
ridiculous.
Injustice 2 gets a stage demo. They reveal a new character, and they possibly give you a PlayStation exclusive character announcement or tease. Where like you're gonna get Bizarro Superman or whatever.
Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, I don't think it's not going to be a PlayStation person. So now, what we always come in with 2 extra in the chamber in case we get screwed over. Which ones did I get taken?
I said blood. So so if you guys remember when I was at TGS in 2014, I think it was the one I was at where this happened, or it could have been the year before when I was there. Gravity Rush 2 was announced in a sizzle reel, and they didn't say a word about it for like a year. And I think that, I don't think it would be quite that dramatic, but I was going to think that they would show some sort of sizzle reel of games coming out with logos, and Bloodborne 2 would have been in there.
Gotcha.
Announced like that. And the other thing was that I think there will be no fewer than 5 new Vita games
Okay.
announced. But it seemed a little redundant with your Geo Corsi.
Big Daddy Geo Corsi.
Big Daddy Geo Corsi.
Big Daddy Cool Geo
When you said
Corsi.
Big Daddy, I was like, oh, Bioshock announcement. But
see, I thought Kevin Nash comes out there.
So those
Big
are my
Daddy
2.
Cool.
Those are my 2, the ones that weren't used.
All right. Tim, did you have anything extra in the chamber?
Something Uncharted related. And then the other one is we'll get a Horizon trailer, obviously. And this is a weird prediction, but I think that the game will be delayed. And I think that we will not hear about the delay at PSX. But I think that we will hear about a delay by the end of 2016.
Okay.
If I hear about a delay of that, it's going to be a little knock, knock, knock. Sean Layton's door at Sony at his office.
Not Lola.
It's gonna be Lola, and she's gonna be wondering, "Are you serious? Is that what's really gonna happen here?" And then she's gonna go, "Boop," and 2 people are gonna come in and arrest Sean Layton.
And Sean's gonna be like,
he's gonna be wearing
this
his
isn't Vita
Mac shirt.
Island. You don't have jurisdiction here. PlayStation 4 colony.
I don't have any get hype for that though. I just hope my get hype would be I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong. My
so.
theory is that I just don't know about that. Like that would be so fucked. My God, I'd be so pissed.
Suck.
I'd be so angry.
My final, the 2 I had in the chamber were, and this is like, admittedly, this one's weak. Something Until Dawn related is teased. I don't think they got a new game ready,
like
but I think they have some kind of teaser.
But not
trailer.
by Supermassive.
Yeah, probably right because the rumor, or not even the rumor, the story is out there that they're working on games or whatever, and they have their own things to go on to. And then my final one was, and this is similar to what you're saying, between now and the Game Awards, Resident Evil 7 is delayed. We get a stage demo for it at PSX though.
Oh my God, I'd be pissed about that too.
Where they come out and they're like, "Hey, you've heard the bad news," blah blah. They don't deliver the bad news there, because then the crowds riot. Sean Layton's torn apart in the front row. I'm not even working on this.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I remember at E3 when they announced that release date. It was like, really?
It's one of those release dates that like I look at the calendar, I'm like, January 20. What the fuck? Like that.
It's been in development for a long time. I mean, when 6 came out.
I know, but it's still. It seems, and it sounds weird. I know. It seems like there's not enough buzz about that game for it to be that close. And I understand that when you talk about VR, everyone's stoked about it. But when you talk about like, I know there's the demo. People have played the demo, but it's just like.
I don't think there was that much hype about 6 though. You know.
But this is the one where you'd be like, we're trying to win those people back, and we're putting out this VR thing, and you can play it both ways, and da da da.
Yeah. We'll see. It's possible. I think it's pretty much, I think it's like 50-50 that it's going to get delayed.
Yeah. Okay.
These aren't predictions. I have hopes.
Oh, you have hopes?
I have hopes.
Hopes and dreams?
I hope we get a hype intro video.
Yeah, they better.
We missed that last time.
Yeah, the Pro thing, yeah.
Then Japan got one, though. You guys
didn't we have a rumor?
Japan's was amazing.
We had a theory for the Pro event that they were supposed to be. Because remember, there was like the noise, and then nothing happened, and then they just brought the lights up all awkwardly.
Yeah.
Like I think some trailer.
Some of them must have fucked up, but I want some hype. I want them to bring that shit. The other thing I want them to bring, speaking of hype, Nier Automata. I want a trailer. I want them to give that game some fucking love.
I bet you it will be there. That's a PS4 exclusive.
That feels right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably likely.
Spring 2017. Shit looks good.
I thought you were gonna say Nier for the Vita. You want some kind of Nier app.
Oh, you want
nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
No. Not talking about
I thought that was really great. I was excited for a second.
Game Goods. Here's a Super Stardust track. What the fuck is this?
I got some questions for you guys.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Will he be there?
No.
There will be a Spider-Man cosplay, yes.
Okay.
For sure. 1,000%.
Spider-Man cosplay?
He just said, well, Spider-Man, will he be there? I'm like,
no, I don't think so. Maybe
Okay.
in a sizzle reel. I don't think that they have anything to show.
Yeah.
God of War?
Yes.
You think so?
New stuff?
Oh, no, they said no. They
Corey
said no.
Balrog said no.
I say no new Spider-Man stuff. I say no new God of War stuff.
No new God of War. That's unintuitive.
I think they're both doing the same thing of like, let's just shut up until we have like God of War. I think is further along. Spider-Man.
I think the games that are imminent are going to be there. I think Days Gone will come out in 2017. So I think that it's because remember what happened at E3? Something along the lines of we asked. God, who the fuck did we ask there? Ross or one of those guys there about if it was going to come out in 2017, and they said no, and then I tweeted it out, and then someone over there clarified like, well, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that out of Horizon, God of War, Detroit, Days Gone, and Spider-Man are the big slate right now, and Death Stranding. I don't think we're missing anything. Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah.
I think that out of like the core third part or the core games that are not Gran Turismo and Horizon, I think Days Gone is next. So I think Days Gone will be there, like new part playable, and maybe a release date.
So Detroit.
I think Detroit will come out next year too.
Do you think we'll get a release date at PSX?
I don't know. I think they both are going to come out next year. Detroit and Days Gone. I don't know that either of them will get release dates. I think they'll both get 2017. Like stingers at the end of their trailers.
Okay.
I don't even know if we'll get that in terms of the dates for this.
Ni no Kuni 2.
Possibly. Yeah. Level 5's been working on that. I don't know that they're anywhere near being done though. So I don't know. I think that was a cool announcement. Super excited about that. I love first Ni no Kuni. I fucking love Ni no Kuni. I think it's a great game. I don't know if it's next year, and I don't know if you show it again unless you have something new to show.
Okay. Final Fantasy VII remake.
But God, I hope not.
Because we saw it last year.
Well, again, this is going to be an episodic game, so I mean...
Well, now that everyone's done working on Final Fantasy 15, they can finally start working on Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So, oh no, I'm sorry, there's Kingdom Hearts 3 as well, so they can't yet. No, CyberConnect is doing Final Fantasy 7, and maybe I'm forever skeptical of not only CyberConnect's ability to make that game, but with no offense to them, looking at their track record, they don't make games of that caliber. And number two, I just don't believe that's anywhere. I still feel like that game's like we won't even see it until 2019, like on anything. The first one, like the Midgar episode or whatever it's going to be.
I hope we hear about it.
I think they shit the bed on that one. I think they know it too. Kingdom Hearts 3, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is possible. I think it's more likely to see something for Kingdom Hearts 3 than Final Fantasy 7. Because it's sooner.
I know. I still think it's more likely to see Final Fantasy 7.
That'd be so stupid.
Because I feel like
it's attached to that thing now, right? Like it feels like it's a PSX
exactly.
thing.
It's a PlayStation thing. Kingdom Hearts is. I mean, it does have lineage there, but I think that it is a little farther off, and we still have Kingdom Hearts 2.8. I think that's what it is. 2.9, 2.8.
No, who cares?
Chapter prologue.
I think we have to temper our expectations of Square Enix, particularly. I think that Automata is almost guaranteed, and I think that might be it. So, but I think that in the order of operations, I think maybe see Final Fantasy 15, just a trailer, maybe some DLC or some patch notes or whatever. I don't know. VR, yeah. But then I think Kingdom Hearts is more likely and makes more sense than showing anything for Final Fantasy 7 Remake, because I just don't know if they're like ready to go.
Yeah. So my biggest hope for this conference is that they do something similar to their E3 conference. That is like, we're not doing gameplay, we're showing trailers. Let's move through this stuff and go.
But this is where you show gameplay.
I guess.
That's why I love PSX, is PSX is totally aimed at the nerds like Colin and myself, right? Where it's just like, yeah, totally get up there and do an Until Dawn playthrough and let us yell out what we want to see and all these different things. And, make all these jokes about Crash Bandicoot and have Gio come out in a hockey jersey and tell you about Vita games. Like,
well, we need you, at least sectionally, I think that there should be a nice, healthy section of just punching, which is like, here's trailers and here's like, new reasons to be excited about being a PlayStation fan, because I think that just like the whole here I am, here, watch a trailer, now watch me play through a bit of the game. It's like,
well, no, don't do it, don't do that, don't do the Ubisoft E3 press conference. So like here's me talking about the game, here's a trailer, here's me talking a bit, and here's me playing. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like going back to your prediction with Uncharted, it's like I don't want to see you playing the game.
That was my other concern too, with it being short. Like it's going to be shorter than Uncharted 4, obviously, and like how much. I was trying to run through my head how much we saw of the Ellie DLC, Left Behind, and what we actually saw in terms of that. I think it was cutscenes originally, right? I remember the cutscene of her and Riley in their dorm room. Yeah, exactly. So that. Well, the doorbell's ringing and no one else is here.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think we're gonna need to multi-man this.
No, you do. Oh, why?
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you need help from me?
I'm gonna need help. Yeah.
All right. Colin, you entertain the kids. It's Waterman 2.0.
Greg forgot to tell you guys a story the other day about the Waterman. And it's a true story. And what ended up happening, first of all, is that the Waterman, I think, returned to our house because, again, we did not pay the bill. See, the thing about, and then the Waterman visited someone else, like one of Greg's family members or something. I don't know the whole thing. What I'm telling you here is that there's something suspicious going on with the Waterman, his ability to stalk this particular show and Greg Miller in particular, and really rattles Greg at his very core. The Waterman really looks deep inside Greg's soul and, makes him almost turn to stone, makes him lose his thoughts, makes him feel vulnerable and weak. And the Waterman's not asking for anything unusual. I mean, he's basically asking for funds for services rendered, of course. But I can't help but wonder where's the money going? And of course, if a man comes to, I'll reiterate again, if a man comes to the door claiming to be the Waterman, I don't know what it is to be the Waterman. And so could it be anyone? Like someone just being like, write me a check for $150, I'll turn your water back on. I'm like, the water's working. Are you going to turn it off at a certain time? It's not like when you lose your cable, like you forgot to pay your cable bill and the cable goes out and you just go online, you do it, and then you ping the box and it works again. Are they really going to shut our water off? Does the Waterman really wield that much power? Because I understand California's still going on some sort of drought, and we're here in Northern California. It's it's been raining the last 2 years more normally, and obviously Hetch Hetchy and all the reservoirs are up here. So this is really our water. And so I wonder, what are the parameters of the Waterman's powers? And also, how far will he go in order to shut the water off? So these are the questions I have, and I just found it weird, auspicious that Greg didn't bring up the Waterman again when he paid us another visit. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Greg fears the Waterman. I think that there's a lot of, there's a lot of fear there. So, oh, you're back? What happened to you?
So many boxes. So happy.
What are they for?
It's cabinet space.
Cabinet space.
Organize things.
Oh, that's nice. It's a sign of two athletic men right there.
Yeah. Jesus fucking God. What the hell? Why?
The last two are really heavy.
Well, then we'll leave them for Kevin tomorrow. Did you entertain him?
I don't know. I guess you'll find out.
I guess I will. Tim, before we let you go.
Yes.
Because, of course, you'll be joining us on the PSX panel. You'll be joining us on the reactions to PSX, all that stuff. Saturday. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Then, of course, Jesus God. Sunday at PSX, but it'll be posted on Tuesday, but it's not the full episode. It's just a bonus episode. Well, I have you. I got 2 Final Fantasy questions here from the kids over at kindoffunny.com/PSQ.
BBKs.
And as the big Final Fantasy fan, I'd like your opinion on these, all right?
All right. Take it
Angel of the Past says, Dear Colin and Greg, and Tim, finally, after several years of waiting, we are receiving Final Fantasy XV. This game has been a roller coaster with twists and turns every step of the way. Even if we ignore any debacles from before this year, it was still quite a journey. From your uncovering of the release date, which had leaked days before, all the way to the retail game being leaked just days before the game was released to the public. It's been a bumpy ride. Since the original release date, there have been many teaser trailers released of the game and even a third demo. If the game had been released on time, these trailers and that demo would never have seen the light of day. My question is, how do you guys think a delay like this affects sales? Sure, a lot of people moan about how they have to wait, and a lot of people also understand how developers have to take their time to improve a game, but how does this actually affect sales overall? Do these extra teasers just serve to keep us interested, or do all these extra parts just try and boost sales for the week 1 buyers? I would love to know your thoughts on the matter. Thank you for all you do. Now, Tim, you've been excited from day one. They announced Final Fantasy versus
13.
You're pumped. Mm-hmm. As the journey's gone on, what has your emotional roller coaster been? Have you been more or less excited?
I mean, roller coaster is probably the best way to put it, because the original trailers for Final Fantasy Versus 13, I was so sold on. I was like, I remember there was that and the 13 trailer, and I was like, 13 looks fine, but Versus 13 is what I want to play. That looks super awesome. It was right on the heels of Advent Children coming out, and for all the flaws the movie had, the action was awesome, and the fight scenes and stuff were cool. I'm like, man, imagine if Final Fantasy one day actually having fights like that. And then seeing the trailer for Versus 13, the tone was so different. The music was amazing, with music done by Shimamura, the person that does the Kingdom Hearts music. It's fantastic. I was like, this is different and this is cool. It looks more action focused and like I am so down. It looks like Kingdom Hearts but with a real story. So I was stoked for that. And then there was TGS trailers coming on after that, and they kind of showed way more of the story. Like this game had a lot of trailers, like a lot. And it's funny to look back on now. Like the game was rebranded as Final Fantasy 15 3 years ago at E3, and that was kind of a big deal because there was a shift in tone, and it became way more about the bros, and some of the characters like Luna, who's in this game, made us lose Stella, who was the person that we thought we were going to get in the trailers, and a lot of the kind of the story elements that we were excited for didn't end up making it to the game, which it hurts and it sucks. Like the game I'm playing right now, as much as I'm enjoying it, it's not the game that I was excited for 10 years ago. Totally different game. A lot of aspects are the same, but even the trailer they showed at E3 2013 or whatever it was when they rebranded it Final Fantasy 15, like a lot of those story elements didn't even make the cut. And I watched the movie Kingsglaive last week to kind of like get prepared for the movie.
With Breaking Bad's Aaron Paul.
Exactly.
And Game of Thrones Lena Headey.
And Game of Thrones.
Sean Bean. But he didn't come to the Uncovered thing, so I don't care about him.
Yeah, but he's there and he did good. And that movie kind of covered a lot of the things that we saw in the trailer. So I was like, all right, cool. They're cutting that from the game and there's a different perspective. And it kind of sucks, but I mean, I'm still excited for it. This reminds me a lot of the Halo 5 situation when they showed their shit in the trailer and then people were upset that stuff wasn't in the game. And I get it because this is more than anything. Like I wanted that game and I'm never going to get that game. But at the same time, it's kind of cool that we're getting something that's different than the thing that we have seen so much of, you know? It's like I always talk about with movie trailers, like I kind of would like them to show things in trailers that aren't in the movies to kind of like betray your emotions, I guess, you know? It's like trailers trailers show so much these days that the movie experience kind of like gets ruined. Games is the same thing. When all the set piece moments they're seen a million times, they're not interesting anymore. So like to kind of give you a taste of what the game's going to be like, but then have things change up. I like that, but this is a little bit different. But in terms of sales, I don't think it affects sales at all.
I mean, that's the big thing, is that this isn't a normal delay by any stretch of the imagination for Final Fantasy 15. I think a normal delay, you go, okay, whatever. Maybe it bumps into another game somebody was looking forward to. They have to make that decision on where they want to spend $60. This one you're talking about, I'm sure they've lost a lot of fans who have aged out of this completely. And Final Fantasy, frankly, isn't as cool now as it was 10 years ago. And so to get to this point now, the person who was excited for it 10 years ago now has a 5-year-old and doesn't have time to play a 50-hour RPG or whatever and run through and do all these different things. I think they lose that sale, but they pick up younger people who are interested in it. Especially, I think their campaign is doing a good job of doing the thing. The whole reason were hired to do Uncovered, right, was the fact that you're the fan and I'm not. And so they want, like, that's how they're aiming this game, right? That a person like me who's never had a real interest in Final Fantasy, there's something in here for them, theoretically.
You turn the game on, literally the first splash screen says, this game is for Final Fantasy first-timers and fans alike. Which playing it seems a little weird, but I get it. I get what they're saying. But it very much is a Final Fantasy that can succeed in the world in 2016.
Gotcha.
If they did the Final Fantasy 9 style thing, it wouldn't sell like that. And that's what Bravely Defaults and Bravely First are, or Bravely Second are. Where it's like they're great and people love them and those are awesome games, but those aren't the marquee AAA game that Final Fantasy can be. And when publishers and developers have the opportunity to have a AAA game, they're going to try to do that.
Yeah. Colin, delays, how do they affect sales?
I mean, it depends on the game. I think with Final Fantasy 15, I think it's going to do the same exact numbers it would have done if it came out last year or earlier this year or whatever. So I don't think it matters. This game is a marquee title. This game is a tentpole title, so I think that it really doesn't matter when it comes out. I think it could have literally come out on January 1st, and it would sell the exact amount of copies because people are going to buy it. I want to explore more of Tabata's insistence on Final Fantasy disease and all these kinds of things, and I think I'll have more about my feelings on the game when we talk about it next on Gamescast and then on PS I Love You next week, I'm sure. Hopefully I'll get more into it tonight, but I don't know. I'm super curious to see what the tail of this game is and how it actually sells, and what people's flavor is on it, because I just playing it. The one takeaway I had just playing through the tutorial when I loaded it up last night, so I played only for like a half an hour, not even, is I'm like, this is fucking complicated. I'm like this is not fun, and like I'm looking forward to seeing how those mechanics work into the story and how I wrap my head around them. Because games, I remember even Final Fantasy 13, which I thought was a bad game, like just a bad game. The combat was actually great, and I remember thinking that the combat didn't make any sense to me at first either. So I think like paradigm shifting and all that, I didn't get it. Weird. So I'll be interested to see, like, when I think about the great marquee Final Fantasies, which to me in my mind are 4, 6, 7, and 9. I think in my mind those are the 4 best. They're all easy to play. It's not about the depth comes in the systems, not necessarily in the mechanics, if that makes any sense. So you know how to play Final Fantasy 6 because you fight and you use your tools or whatever, special skill, thief or whatever, stealing if you're lock. And then you have espers, and you learn espers based on action points you earn in the game, and then on the percentages based on the that are attached to the esper, and you learn those spells and all that kind of stuff, so you can really customize your characters. That's where the depth is. The depth isn't in the mechanics. So I'm playing this and I'm like, I don't understand. Back to what Tabata says, I'm like, I guess I have Final Fantasy disease because I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. Like, I don't understand how this is at all Final Fantasy, and that's what I'm most curious about to see moving forward. Is like, what are the touchstones other than a cactar and the familiar chimes on a menu and all these kinds of things? I'm like, okay, that's cool, but what's the heart that makes this Final Fantasy? Because Dragon Quest is a heart, right? There's a heart that makes Dragon Quest, and Final Fantasy 13 had no heart, and I feel like this has a similar kind of thing where I'm like, are you just slapping this name on this game? Like, to your point about like if they did 9 with a kind of more classic style and more archaic knights and mages and all that kind of stuff, that is Final Fantasy to a lot of people. There are examples of that not happening, but there's always been a steampunk aesthetic in Final Fantasy and the great Final Fantasy games, and that's even the 10 to a degree. So like, I just am wondering, where it goes from there. But I'm trying to keep as open a mind as possible. And I said it many times, and I'll say it again. And the reviews played out. I think it's no less than good. I do take issue the more I think about this Final Fantasy disease thing. I'm like, yeah, we have Final Fantasy disease, Tabata, because we bought those fucking games. So we have expectations of what we're going to get with a name Final Fantasy instead of 2 MMOs and a trilogy of games no one fucking asked for and all of this kind of shit. So I hope that this bucks the trend and is a respectable game. Because I think it's actually a while that since they've released a respectable Final Fantasy game in the main series that's not an MMO. I know people love 14. I feel like I don't like 10. I don't think it's a good game, but I feel like that was the last time there was a consensus that a game was good, and in the series.
People love 12.
12 sucks. 12's so bad.
I don't like it, but like people.
I don't know. I hear a lot of shit about 12 too, and 12 is a tale of 2 games. We've been over that many times. Too many fucking cooks in the kitchen on that game. But 12 was like a pseudo MMO. I don't even know what they were thinking of with that game. I really do feel like in my heart that 10 was the last one where I'm like, I'm in the minority, like very much in the minority on this game. And with 12, I feel like everyone's like, it's fine. 13, I think the consensus with a lot of hardcore fans was it's not very good.
Yeah. Going back to something you were saying, though, the battle system in 13, I agree with you, and I've said this a million times before. Like, I wanted to keep playing that game because I felt like there was a reward somewhere in that battle system because it was so much fun. And I kept waiting for the challenge to come, and it never did, and that's what caused me to be like, all right, I don't like this. I wish they kind of like went through with it a bit more. And when I was playing Final Fantasy 15, again, I'm only 2 hours in. I played all the demos and all that stuff, so I'm a bit more familiar maybe than you are. Like, I didn't need to do the tutorial. Like, I knew how to do that stuff. But going into it and playing it, it's like I had the same feelings. Like, man, it is kind of overwhelming. But then even 2 hours in, they do what Metal Gear Solid 5 did really well, which is kind of slowly introduce you to the complication stuff. Yeah. Like, just being dropped in Metal Gear Solid 5, that's crazy. Like, there's too much shit going on. But playing it for 2 hours gets you to a point where you're like, oh, okay, here's how the resources get you this and then get you that and whatever and give you gameplay. And so far, Final Fantasy 15 has gotten me to that point where I'm like, I'm already feeling like the combat makes sense to me, and I'm feeling in the flow and in the, like I said this to you earlier, it kind of feels like a rhythm game to me, where it's like you just kind of got to keep up with the pace of what's going on and switch between offense and defense. And it reminds me of Final Fantasy 13's battle system, the good parts about it. So
we'll see. The one thing I want to walk away from is, what does it mean to be, like, I think I want 15 to answer the question of, like, what does Final Fantasy mean? Other than just being an IP that you slap on something to make people buy it. Like, another Square Enix, we talk about Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest, with the exception of 10, meant something. Like, those games all mean something. You can line them all up and they all are congruent with each other, even though they're different, and the more I think of that Final Fantasy disease thing, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I probably do have it, and I'm kind of happy I do, because those were great games. So I think this game will answer the question one way or the other, and I'll be super interested to see. I hope it does well. I hope it's great. I hope people love it. I really do, and I hope I love it because I'm going to be spending a lot of time with it, and I really do want to see it through. So, because I just think it's such an historic game in a way. But my initial impressions are I hate the characters, and the combat system is just muddled, and I think that both of those things will be clarified because again, people have been asking me on Twitter, and we talked about Colin and Greg a little bit this morning. Like, what do you think of the game? And I'm like, those are my impressions, but I don't know that I think that about the game because I've not played nearly enough to have a fleshed out impression, and I think you got to give the game due diligence in order to have really something to say on it more than a few hours or more than a few minutes like me.
Really quick,
to
add on to this, something I want to add, and this is kind of a criticism of my experience so far, is I watched the entire anime Brotherhood, and I watched the movie Kingsglaive recently, and just to kind of get into the world, because I've since the trailers, I've been sold on this world, and I wanted it, but going into this game, like, how much is that stuff going to affect the story? And already there's things that I'm like, man, if I didn't watch those, this would be a lot weirder than it is right now. But even having said that, it's not like not watching those is going to leave you in a weird place because even watching them, it doesn't answer some of the questions I want answered. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because it's like, it is just world building. And I think that from reading a lot of the reviews and especially what I'm seeing so far, the story isn't this amazing story, but it is about the world and it's about the characters and a lot of the just kind of things happening as they happen on this road trip. And really thinking back, I might get a lot of shit for this, but like, I'm sorry, but Final Fantasies don't really have these breathtaking stories. Like some of them have better stories than others, but like I wouldn't say any full story is amazing and one of the best stories I've ever heard. So it's like, but the thing is that there's characters that matter and there's character development that matters where I'm like, the story of Final Fantasy VII, I love Final Fantasy VII. I cared about it because of the characters though. The characters and how they interacted with all the things going on in those scenarios. Final Fantasy X is the same way.
Yeah, I'm not even really sure what the fuck 10's about. The Blitzball, exactly. I do disagree. I think 4 and 6 both have great stories, but I think that they're helped by the characters. But I think the nuggets of the story is like in 4 kind of these renegade guys that are being told to do this awful shit. They don't want to do it anymore. I mean, it's kind of a cool nugget there. I think 6's story is actually really phenomenal. But yeah, and they're not. I mean, they're
good. They're good stories. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just I don't think that any of them are these like masterpieces of storytelling. I think that a lot of them, it's like the gameplay is fun and it's engaging and rewarding to kind of keep going through all this stuff and to progress and move through it all. But without the gameplay, the story wouldn't hold up the game. Without the story, the gameplay wouldn't hold it up, right? It's both going hand in hand. That to me, that's what makes a Final Fantasy game. So I'm interested to see where this one goes. But it is weird because the day one patch, maybe it's the second patch.
The Crown update?
There's a whole bunch of fucking patches. Is that what it is?
That was their day one patch.
I think that would make sense because it adds cutscenes from Kingsglaive into the thing, but they're really, really oddly placed. And it's not using dialogue that they're saying because it's Sean Bean. So they can't use, I'm assuming they can't use his voice. Sure. So it's just music playing under action happening. And I'm like, man, this is really shoehorned in. And it was a patch. So it's like, you could tell that they were like, oh, fuck, we should probably just put this in there. So it is in the game. You don't need to watch the movies and stuff. There is still stuff, but it's awkward. And
Denim_Gino over at kindafunny.com/PSQ wrote in and said, "Good day, mates. Gino here from Australia. Oi, massive fan of all you do. I want to talk to you guys about how we now have news that Final Fantasy 15 is going to have a massive day one patch. So big they even given it a name, the Crown Update. IGN says in addition to fixing minor bugs, it adds several new features that improve gameplay and greatly enhance the overall story. ... Now, do you guys remember one of the many reasons Final Fantasy 15 was delayed? Wasn't it to avoid such a thing from happening? Question. Are you sick of developers lying about this trash? In this case, it had been delayed so many times I'm sure they were running out of excuses, but no one is talking about the fact they lied just about what's in this update. Why do they even need to give us a reason?" Now, pulling back, what happened is in August, Kotaku wrote, along with other people, and I'm sourcing Kotaku. According to Tabata, one of the big reasons for this delay, however, is not everyone who is going to play Final Fantasy 15 has their console connected to the internet. They may have a console, they may have the internet, but the two aren't aren't necessarily connected. Parentheses, data Tabata sourced said that the number is over 20% of Japanese gamers. Thus, there actually might be players who do not download a day one patch. The delay is to get the game in good shape for all players at release.
And what did I tell you when that happened?
Bullshit.
I was like, it's totally.
We all said that. You're kidding
nonsense.
me. There's not going to be a day one patch for Final Fantasy. What year is it?
Well, no, not even that. Not even that there would be, because there clearly was going to be anyway. But the fact that was such a stupid excuse, I'm like, that is such a stupid excuse. You're so full of shit. You know, like they just needed to buy time.
Yeah,
and that's what they did. So, and they got it, and hopefully it worked out for them. And I do agree that I assume Tabata's serious, and those guys are serious, and that what the patch was going to be is in the game, and now this is a separate patch. Yeah. So I think that's true.
This is back to what we were talking about earlier with the game development, right? That game development is constantly killing your babies in the crib and just leaving them go. You only get it depends on which developer you talk to, 70% of your original vision into a game, usually a lot less than that. And so, yeah, if you're going to have more time, you're going to get to a current update or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have said that because it bites him in the ass. And that's kind of a hard thing to deal with as a creator. And we have to deal with this all the time ourselves, where it's like, people want updates, then you give updates and then things change and then you're an asshole. And that gets really hard. And I totally get it. And again, I'm on the side of it. Like, you shouldn't have said that, But at the same time, like following Final Fantasy 15's development for so long, I've been reading thread after thread, post after post about, the things that have been changing over the last couple of years in this game. And to see the screenshots that were released a couple of years ago where this game looked fucking gorgeous, to then seeing the screenshots released a year ago where this game looked really okay, to what's happened in the last couple of months where the entire industry of games journalists went from being like, I don't know about this game, to, oh shit, this game's going to be good. That happened in the last couple months. And I think that him coming out and saying that, it's like, cool, they wanted this shit to be right. It sucks for me because my current internet situation at home sucks, so I had to deal with that whole thing. And yeah, downloading the patch meant that I only got to play 2 hours instead of 6 hours last night. That fucking sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, all this other stuff, like going back to what I was saying, like they added the Kingsglaive stuff, they added a whole bunch of shit that that they're like, man, it'd be cool if we could do that, but we can't delay this game again. So it's like, cool, another patch added on top of that. Like, I'm sure at some point there was a conversation that's like, but you said we weren't going to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like,
it's for the best of the game.
It's for the best of the game. Yeah. Like, how are we going to piss fans off more? Not giving them more shit or sticking to the truth of what we said at some point in an interview. But it's hard.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done it. It should don't confirm things until you're ready to.
The big thing is I doubt he was lying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I bet he thought this is what they were going to be able to do. But of course that's, just getting away from it.
And I think the problem there is things change and you don't get opportunities to address them. He said that in an interview. They didn't have a follow-up interview of, hey, are things still going to plan?
Yeah.
And that gets hard because headlines come out and then you get stuff.
That's it,
stuff. But
and also note that a lot of the interviews with them have been weird the last couple of years. I remember when I was in Japan once and we interviewed him, Mitch and I, and he was talking about percentages of the game done. They're like, we're 50% done or something like that, or 40% done. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me? And then the number increased, I think 10% in a year, and then suddenly the next year the game's out. I'm like, okay, so this is all just nonsense, basically, just all nonsense. So, whatever, they've now gotten off the pot, so now it's time. So now it's time to give the game its due diligence, and I'm excited to do that. And my hope is that I love it, based on the characters and the combat so far. My impressions are tepid, but so preliminary, cool. so preliminary.
Well, we'll be checking in left and right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next, of course, on the Kind of Funny Games cast. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday is PSX. 10 o'clock is a little showcase. That means at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We'll come to you the pre-show, react with you during the conference, and then come back and do a PS I Love You XOXO right there to finish it all off live for you, then put that out on the podcast feeds. The next day, Sunday, at noon, we will do the panel at PSX, which will go up on Tuesday. And if you're at PSX, we'll do an autograph signing thing right afterwards, like a photo thing probably. We'll hang out. Well, that was a lovely little interlude, Colin.
It was.
I like that little Tim guy.
Now they're coming to arrest him.
The little secret police. Lola's out there looking for everybody. Colin, I'm excited for Days Gone, but it's so far out. If I want to know what came to the mom and grop shops, both detail and retail, where I go, you son of a bitch!
Go to the official list of upcoming PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation VR, and sometimes PSP software by the Kind of Funny co-founders. Aqua Moto Racing Utopia comes to PlayStation 4 Digital.
Now these guys are the OGs. They were the ones who came by, like, I think 2 GDC streams. We've done Let's Plays on this one, run around. This was their whole jet set. Or no, Wave Race. This is their Wave Race love letter.
Yeah, I remember playing it. Experience high speed and nerve-wracking tension in a world of pure racing on waves, so state-of-the-art, you need to feel them to believe them. Explore and discover secret passages in dreamlike exotic locations like the Amazon, tropics, Greece, and the mangrove swamplands. Landing that perfect stunt in a narrow canal will put a smile on your face. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Metal Slug comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. It's out the 28th, so this is out by the time you listen to this. Metal Slug is the original entry in one of the most famous action game series ever released. It was originally released by SNK in 1996. Players control Marco and Tarma, who belong to the Special Forces team known as the Peregrine Falcon Squad. They fight to defeat General Donald Morden in an effort to take back their stolen weapon known as the Metal Slug.
Get it.
Battalion Commander comes to PlayStation 4. It's digital and it's out the 1st, so this is a Thursday release. The Motherland needs you again. Strange activity is detected in the north, so grab your guns, rockets, and grenades and secure the territory. About face. March.
Oh, I will.
Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. Delve into this exciting detective adventure game with a steampunk twist. Strange earthquakes are causing the world's cities to crumble to ruin. The brilliant Dr. Ambrose Inc. hopes to expose the underlying cause of this phenomenon, but he needs the assistance of his longtime friend, Agent Evangeline Glass. The heroine will have to storm the castle of the General Engineer of Gotland to find out the truth and stop the cataclysm.
No.
The Crew Ultimate Edition comes to PlayStation 4 Retail. Step into the driver's seat for this definitive online racing experience in the Crew Ultimate Edition, the supercharged, all-inclusive edition of the revolutionary action driving game.
The revolutionary action driving game.
Get behind the wheel. Your crew is waiting.
I remember being excited for that, and then just came out and nothing.
Yeah. People liked it. Crystal Rift comes to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR Digital. A grid-based dungeon crawler in classic first-person perspective. Crystal Rift is inspired by classic dungeon games such as Dungeon Master and Eye of the Beholder, with grid-based movement. It has been developed primarily for VR, but is also a great experience for those without headsets.
Oh, thank you.
Destroy All Humans 2 comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. Assume the role of the human-hating alien Crypto once again in the sci-fi action-adventure spoof bound to enslave mankind. Take revenge on humanity for destroying your mothership. Take on the new enemies such as secret agents, giant creatures, Soviet forces, and even ninja warriors in an expanded open world.
Ninja warriors. All right.
The Dwarves comes to PlayStation 4 Digital and Retail. It's out the 1st, so that's Thursday. The Dwarves is a fantasy role-playing game with a strong story and tactically challenging real-time battles. 15 playable heroes, each with individual skills, are to be deployed cleverly. Take on superior numbers of orcs, ogres, elves, bognolum, zombies, dark mages, and many more foes to give them the lowdown.
Now, I feel like that one has to get props because that is the first game description. I really feel like I know everything, what that game is. I can picture it in my mind's eye.
Also, they use the little dots above the A's and the O's in some of these things.
Oh.
Final Fantasy 15 comes to PlayStation 4 Digital and Retail. Noctis, Crown Prince of the magical kingdom of Lucius, embarks on a quest to reclaim his homeland in this action RPG. Take up the steering wheel and hit the road with your colorful companions to explore a vast and breathtaking world. Invoke the power of your ancestors and effortlessly warp through the air in thrilling combat. Longtime fans and fresh faces alike, get ready to experience cutting-edge interactive entertainment in this fantasy based on reality.
Wait, what?
So it says.
Because they're friends in a car. That's reality. Okay, yeah, it's based on that. Sure.
Yes. How We Soar comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. How We Soar is a VR flight experience. It doesn't say PSVR, by the way. It just says PS4. How We Soar is a VR flight experience that lets you take up the reins of a beautiful giant phoenix and explore an enchanting papercraft world. Seated on the back of this mythical creature, fly throughout the diaries and works of the author. Reconstruct and bring life to the pages of his creations, uncovering his personal story as you soar.
All right. Well, we need to get. Can we just get the superhero flying game already on PSVR? You know what I mean? He said, "Oh, you get to fly." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." Oh, I'm on a fucking goddamn Gryffindor or some shit.
Gryffindor. Hue comes to PlayStation Vita Digital. Hue is a vibrant, award-winning puzzle adventure where you alter the world by changing its background color. You explore a dangerous gray land, unearthing colored fragments on a journey to find your missing mother.
Find her or die.
The Keeper of Four Elements comes to PS4 and Vita Digital out the 1st. That's a Thursday. The Dark Lord invaded this mystical island to uncover the secrets of ancient magic and use it for his evil deeds. But the island has a powerful protector, a wise monk wielding the power of the four elements, Billy Joel. Said the island has a protector. Rise to the island's defense using the elemental towers and devastating spells, which can fend off any enemy. Neon Chrome comes to Vita Digital. Neon Chrome is a ruthless top-down cyberpunk shooter with roguelike elements. Blast your way through enemies and walls with guns and cybernetic abilities. Experiment with different roles like the hacker or the cyber psycho. Upgrade your character stats, discover new cybernetic enhancements, and build up strength. Every death is a new beginning.
Okay.
Pinball FX2 VR. It looks like they're going to unify the names, I guess. because this was always, what was this? Zen Pinball.
Zen Pinball and Pinball FX. Yeah.
FX was always on Xbox, but now we're getting it here. It says Pinball FX2 VR, PSVR digital. Experience digital pinball as never before in Pinball FX2 VR, groundbreaking new pinball game from the digital pinball pioneers, Zen Studios. Pinball FX2 VR features advanced physics, detailed 3D graphics, and original tables from the pinball wizards at Zen. Rockin' Racing Off-Road DX comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. Get ready to enjoy off-road races with your friends and family. Rockin' Racing Off-Road DX offers the most entertaining and exciting races with loads of skids, crashes, and amazing jumps.
Are you upset that you're getting this? It says, enjoy it with your family. You're getting this the week after you were with your family.
I know. I'm bummed I can only enjoy it by myself now. Yeah. Steep comes to PlayStation 4 Digital and Retail. Ride a massive open world across the Alps where the powder is always fresh and the run never ends. The mountain is yours to explore, so strap in, suit up, and drop in. Sounds a little bit like cocaine.
Let's get some gnarly curls!
Steins Gate Zero comes to PS4 and Vita, digital and retail. Steins Gate Zero is the sequel to the best-selling visual novel set around a group of students who accidentally changed time and history with a science experiment, endangering humankind.
That's no good.
Steins Gate Zero tells the story of what happens when they fail to fix their mistake.
Oh, no.
And finally, Wind Kings comes to PlayStation 4 Digital. It's out the first. That is a Thursday. Wind Kings is a 2D platform game which throws you into a fantasy Vikings era. It's a party game with gorgeous graphics and sound design. It can be played in single-player mode as well as in local multiplayer. Different and unique worlds, characters, enemies, and weapons make for engaging gameplay.
Ooh, engaging gameplay. My favorite.
Pick of the week has to be Final Fantasy.
Of course, yeah. You got to know what's happening. We got to see what's happening. Mm-hmm. You got to figure it out for yourself if this 10-year wait was worth it. Colin, what do you got from your trophies?
There are a lot of new trophies, but I want to go into... let's go into 3 of them in particular, especially because we're running late. Final Fantasy 15. 42 bronze, 5 silver, 3 gold, and a platinum. These are the Japanese ones, so hold on, let me open these up again.
Hi, everybody, it's me, Greg. Peace, I love you, XOXO.
This is the one. Okay, here we go.
Here it is.
So 42 bronze, 5 silver, 3 gold, and a platinum. You get a bunch of bronzes for beating the prologue, and then chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Defeating Ifrit on normal difficulty gets you a gold trophy. Drove the Regalia, so that's a learner's permit. That's when you drive your car, is a bronze trophy. Chocobo Jockey, rode a Chocobo, is a bronze. Regalia Pilot, flew the Regalia Type F. You get a silver trophy. Equipped 4 weapon slots is a bronze. Collected 13 Royal Arms is a silver. Learned your first ability is a bronze. Activated 20 ability nodes is a silver. Activated 50 ability nodes is a gold. When you improve the following skills for the first time, you get a bronze trophy. Cooking, photography, survival, and fishing. When you reach the maximum level of those 4 things, you also get a bronze trophy. When you perform the first warp suspension, you get a bronze. Issued your first ally command, you get a bronze. Performed your first blindside link, you get a bronze. Initiated first link strike after parrying an attack, you get a bronze. Basically, you get a bunch of trophies for doing side quests for 1, 5, 10, 20, 40. Those are all bronzes. 80 is a silver. Completed your first hunt is a bronze, and defeating the Adamantoys is a gold.
Hate Adamantoys.
It seems like an achievable platinum trophy. Red Faction is going to come out soon if it's not out already. The PS2 game, which
PS2 classic. Let's punch through some walls.
Which I loved at the time.
Dude, I remember playing this in Mizzou all the time, calling people in the room, watch me. I can shoot through this wall.
30 bronze, 11 silver, 2 gold, and a platinum.
Whoop, whoop.
It seems like a lot of them have to do with specific story things and then also killing enemies in certain ways. For instance, Pink Mist is a bronze trophy for killing 50 enemies with a turret. Click, click, boom. A Saliva reference, which is timely to when the game came out. Kill 50 enemies with the shotgun. And then some story-related ones as well. Missed the shuttle for a bronze trophy.
I'm coming down with the stereo and you... Click, click, boom.
I had that record. Believe it or not. I'm sure you do. Industry Giant 2 is the one I wanted to go in as well. This was supposed to come out this week, but it comes out next week. The game sounds cool and looks cool. The trophy, this might be the worst trophy set I've ever seen.
Oh, good news.
Ever. 8 bronze, 3 silver, 1 gold, 0 platinum. Bronze trophy, finished all tutorials. Bronze trophy, played for at least 1 hour. Bronze trophy, played for at least 10 hours. Bronze trophy, played for at least 50 hours. Bronze trophy, played for at least 75 hours. That's a silver trophy. Silver trophy, played for at least 100 hours. Then defeating the campaign on easy will get you a bronze, medium, silver, gold for hard, and some other miscellaneous ones. You have to play this game with no platinum trophy for 100 hours to get a silver trophy.
But
fuck off.
I wonder, and I always forget which game it was. Remember, there was another game that did something similar to this, of like play for 10 hours or whatever, and the problem was that it counted when you put it to sleep. So like if you hit your power button, turned it off, you'd pop.
Was it Rogue Legacy?
That is it. Yeah, and you pop it because I remember.
Because I think I wrote my Rogue Legacy clock is like
insane,
absurd.
Right? Yeah. So if it's like that, whatevs, have it. Take the hour.
That's it.
Colin, you know we like to take trophy time questions here and there. Today, I'm going to give you a trophy time success story. This comes from the PSN name, Jack M304. Hey guys, I just got my 50th platinum trophy. It wasn't in a new game or even a game I hold dear to me. It was in Dying Light. In case the best friends don't know, Techland is notorious for releasing games with broken trophy lists, and Dying Light was no exception. When the game released in 2015, I got all the trophies except for the side quest one. I did all 52 side quests at least 3 times, not including my most recent playthrough, and the trophy still didn't pop. I put away the game in defeat, thinking I'd never go back for the platinum, and that was rightfully mine. Patches eventually fixed the list, and as I neared this trophy milestone, I decided to conquer the game that stole a platinum from me. I'm glad I went back to Dying Light to vanquish its platinum, which now sits among my others on a profile that has Dyad, The Last of Us, and Mirror's Edge. You guys got me into trophy hunting in 2013. Whether it was listening to all 381 episodes of Beyond or your stuff at Kinda Funny, I've always had you guys by my side. Thanks for everything, Jack Martin.
Congratulations. Those are some tough ones, man.
Jack M304, congratulations, man. Keep it up. I tell you what, going back to a Techland game, that's always the hard one.
I saw you lose your mind with Dead Island.
Or Dead Island Riptime.
I felt bad for you on that.
God,
that happens.
That was heartbreaking.
I've had a few trophies stolen from me, but not platinums. There are probably 5 platinums on the table that I'm 1 away from.
Sure.
Godfather 2 is one of them. I killed too many guys and then have the ability to like go back into the game and kill who I needed to. It was like some thugs or whatever that I had to kill. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale and Vita. I'm missing one of them.
It's the same way. I have to go back and do all the character things. I'm like, I just can't.
I did all those. I think the only one I'm missing is like I can't find online games.
Oh, that I got done. Me and Mike Mitchell did that right away.
There's a fucking Titanfall 2. That I have all the trophies except for the one running on the wall. Like, how do you I watch I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You're insane.
Yeah.
You know, I hate that shit.
What was the one? It was back in the both of our whoring days. I mean, I still whore. You don't know horror no more. I
don't whore no more.
Jurassic. What was the shooter?
Jurassic the Hunted.
Jurassic the Hunted. I'm 1 short on that from when you had to defend the house from the raptors for like however absurdly long. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this.
Rogue Warrior was another one for me where I beat the game on hard and it only gave me the trophy for being on hard. So I just had to beat it on easy and normal. Like perhaps the only game that doesn't stack difficulty trophies. I was like, oh God, that said it all about that game. Yeah. It fucking sucked. We don't get games like that anymore.
Nope.
Games that are just trash.
The middleman fell away. We don't get stuff like that anymore. I do miss. I mean, and that was the thing is there were
some gems in there.
There was a charm to Rogue Warrior. You know what I mean? Going through. And
there was a charm to Jurassic.
Just beating it. Oh yeah, totally. What the? I always do the what the foxtrot, and people are like, you say fuck? I'm like, no, it's foxtrot. It's what he says in Jurassic the Hunted.
The hip game by someone I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, of course not.
Published by someone I don't remember anymore.
Not even remotely around anymore.
Was that a THQ game? No. I don't know who. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't even matter.
No,
I don't even care. I don't even want to know the answer. Don't tell me.
I'm gonna do 2. All right, Colin.
Okay.
Piers JM11 wrote in and says, "What's up, guys? I hope you two are doing well. Colin, I hope you enjoyed your real American food. Greg, I loved your drinking PSA on Twitter. So I feel as though I have created a monster. Way back in episode 23, I was the first to have suggested forgotten PlayStation game with Maximo, which was then chosen again later by someone else. I thought this would be my only time and the one time I would ever get to decide a segment for the show. My suggestion this week is actually a dead PlayStation game, and I don't believe anyone will ever play this again. So he's saying a game on PlayStation, not a forgotten PlayStation game that somebody should go back to. One that's dead, no one should ever go back to, or maybe can't. He says, PlayStation Home. It had a lot of potential, but never fully lived up to it. I remember seeing 2 people having a sex chat in the corner while I was exploring early on. What memories do you have about the world? And do you think if it was released in this console generation with the PlayStation 4, it could have been more successful?
I think it was a little bit ahead of its time. I barely messed with Home at all. I couldn't give a fuck less about PlayStation Home.
I fucked with a fair share.
I know, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember you chasing people around.
In my younger days, I would troll people in Home. Yeah, we'd sit there. I made the ugliest character I could. Then I would run around, and I was not cosplaying. I was pretending to be a girl in Home, trying to get people into sex conversations with me.
Did it work?
No, I made my character so hideous no one would. So then at one point, if you remember, I was chasing some guy around screaming, "Please make a home in my ass." I was just typing. I had a keyboard for DC Universe Online. I was typing that over and over and over again, and he couldn't figure out how to get help, so he just kept running around saying, "Can someone help me? Someone help me!" And I think he was on voice chat asking for help because he couldn't figure it out. What I was talking to somebody about the other day. And I am not recommending this, Shuhei Yoshida, Sean Layden, whoever's listening. PlayStation Home would be a really interesting experiment now in VR. Because if it was you had your own apartment space, and because that was always the weird thing, they wanted you to watch like trailers together. They had the theater where you could go down and do stuff. We always tried to get, I think, the show in there and never made it work. But if you had a home thing and you could watch your own Netflix and you could invite your friends in or something like that, or if you could buy arcade cabinets like you were doing in home and put them into your thing and have meetups where you're all in your VR at your real house sitting on the couch, but you're sitting there talking to each other. It's another one where I don't think it'd be a juggernaut success story, but it'd be interesting. I think people would be down for that, excited for that. Especially like, we're doing all this watch along stuff now that's like an actual thing. People want to enjoy content, whether it be, you watch Twitch in it, right? And interact with your friends in a chat that way. It wouldn't be crazy, but it would be really, really interesting to see what somebody would do with that idea now. But yeah, my favorite home thing was chasing a boy around saying, will you make a home in my ass? And then when they put out the Ghostbusters pack, and I did all that stuff. Oh, also when I totally blew, this is one of my best IGN stories, when I was like a young up-and-comer there or whatever, right? Still first year. They sent us beta invites for home, got it, went and made all these videos and published them. And then like the next day, Dunham was like, was there an embargo on the home stuff? And I'm like, I don't think so. And like we went through the email and there wasn't, but they were citing like the embargo, the NDA embargo of when you make your home account or whatever. It's like, why did they give it to the press? And this shows you what a different Sony was. They were just like, no big deal. Don't worry about it. I was like, all right, thanks. Back to talking about home or whatever.
Back to going and killing dudes in mag and pretending it was a sniper. Even though they could see on the screen who killed them.
Another one, man. Colin, final question for you.
Yeah. Oh,
and by the way, thank you, Jericho, for compiling these questions. I always want to thank him every week when I go reader mail, but we've been doing it so seamlessly.
The city in
now.
Kansas?
No, the guy in I think Germany who does this for us. He compiles all the questions over at kindoffunny.com.
I've been there. It really exists. Germany really does exist. In case you were curious.
Does Jericho?
There's definitely places in this world that don't actually exist.
Witcher Champ writes in and says, hello, Greg and Colin.
Hello.
You nailed it. The topic of the two questions I want to ask is this. Is publishing your game in the fall lineup overrated? I respect the hell out of you, Colin, but I think your opinion on Sony's strategy on their exclusive games released in the fall doesn't really consider how poor sales can be for a game released in October or November. I actually think that not releasing an exclusive game in this already packed window, rather than doing so, Sony benefited Sony in terms. He's saying it's a bad thing to go up against all I think. He's getting a little off topic there. Take, for example, Uncharted 4. When it came out, it was all over the news on how great it was and that it was selling really well. Remember when it was supposed to release in the fall of 2015? A window that had sales heavyweights like Fallout, Call of Duty, and Star Wars Battlefront. I think it was best to release this before the summer of 2016. Now, direct your attention to how poorly Titanfall 2, Dishonored 2, and Watch Dogs 2 did in terms of sales. Let's be honest. It's not really because these games were bad, just that they were drowned in a release window that consists of other meaty shooter games. So question 1. Do you think, with the given sales of these games, Sony should keep doing what they are currently doing, parentheses, which is release their exclusives throughout the year and support the third-party games that always release in the fall anyway? Call of Duty, Ubisoft, Action Adventure, etc. Question 2, do you think more game publishers will move their games out of the fall lineup given the sales of these 3 excellent AAA games?
That's a thought-provoking idea, and I don't necessarily know that he's wrong. I will present evidence to the contrary. Gears of War 4 was the 3rd best-selling game on NPD last month, and it didn't count digital sales, so it could have very well been the best-selling game. I was reading some anecdotal evidence that you're seeing 20 and 30% conversion rates on digital platforms now, which is insane. And I don't think the Gears thing also counted all bundles. So there is contrary evidence on a much weaker-selling platform that a big exclusive like Gears actually sold extraordinarily well. I bet you Gears sold, first of all, way better than Titanfall on both platforms, and probably sold comparably to Titan or to Call of Duty, or not necessarily Call of Duty, maybe Call of Duty, but certainly Battlefield on a platform by platform basis, which I think is interesting as well. Is he right? Perhaps. I just think that Sony is not, we don't have any evidence since the launch because Sony has never released a AAA exclusive in the fall since Killzone. And people are saying like, some people are upset like that Gravity Rush, we don't talk about Gravity Rush 2 and The Last Guardian as AAA games. And I'm like, I hate to tell you guys, Gravity Rush 2 isn't a AAA game.
Right.
And The Last Guardian is, but it's a niche AAA game. It's like calling Persona 5 a AAA game. Of course, Persona 5 is a AAA game, but that's not. When you say AAA game, along with it comes expectations of popularity as well. Neither of those games have any popularity. Neither of those games are going to set the world on fire sales-wise. So we've not seen, Horizon was supposed to come out this fall. Uncharted was supposed to come out last fall. The Order was supposed to come out the fall before, and we have not seen any evidence that, in other words, we have no data. We do have data on the Xbox side. So that conflicts at least marginally with what he says. So I think it's an interesting thought. I think it's possible. I don't think he's necessarily wrong.
It has been working out well. This is what we always talk about, right? Where for the last couple falls, we've been saying, man, PlayStation's got no exclusives this holiday season. But do they need them? They don't need them. The third party is carrying all the water for them, and then they do get to the fall, the spring or summer or whatever, where they can put out an Uncharted 4 and have it own all the limelight. Not that Uncharted 4 wouldn't get that limelight now, but it would have to compete with other things people are caring about.
I think the bigger question, Greg, is the 3 games he brought up, which were the sequels for Titanfall, Dishonored, and Watch Dogs. They all are selling extremely soft.
Yeah.
The question is that happening because of the fall release? I think that's part of it. I think that, especially with Titanfall, was squeezed out by 2 better games. I'll say again that Titanfall is certainly the weakest of those 3 games. Those 3 shooters, not the 3 games we just mentioned.
Sure.
I think part of it, too, is that they're producing sequels for games no one asked for. And I really don't think
sure Dishonored though.
Dishonored 2 it doesn't seem like it's doing very well.
Sure, no, I agree.
Watch Dogs 2 isn't doing very well. So if people are really asking about these games, then
no. This is
getting the same thing we make with Mirror's Edge.
Exactly. This is your Mirror's Edge and Beyond Good and Evil, and that's where I'm getting at. Is like the people who love Dishonored. The people who you and I didn't care for Dishonored, we never fucking think about Dishonored. And so when we're doing our fall games we're excited for, nobody mentions Dishonored because no, that's not it. Dishonored, I think, is Bethesda being like, we believe in this, we want to get this out here, and we want to deliver for those fans. And those same fans, I assume, are playing it. Yeah, sure. Again, it's not selling extremely well. I don't know. How is it reviewing? I'm not even sure.
Dishonored?
Yeah.
Oh, it did well.
I thought so, yeah. It's speaking to that audience and that
all
audience
3 of those
alone.
games did well, critically.
Watch Dogs 2, the problem is the fact that you had such a disappointing entry in Watch Dogs 1. You hyped Watch Dogs 1 for 3 fucking years. You finally put it out, and it wasn't what a game one.
Wasn't good.
So now Ubisoft is saying, okay, cool, back to the drawing board. But I think it's their hubris of saying Watch Dogs is a tentpole for Ubisoft. It is an Assassin's Creed. It is a AAA game. It's coming out when AAA games come out. They're not going to go and put it where they should have put it, which would have been, let's put it where we put Far Cry Primal. Let's put it where the Dead game, we always talk about this, Dying Light was, right? Where there's a chance for this to shine, where it would have fucking cleaned up probably in terms of, hey guys, it's January, you're waiting for the Switch, Horizon isn't here yet, here's this fun, colorful, quirky, open world for you to explore and fuck around in. And I think people would have been really all over it, but now it is one of those things of, no, I'm a Call of Duty person, I'm a Battlefield person, I'm excited for Final Fantasy, I have a franchise, a real quote-unquote AAA game I'm excited for. I'm going to look for that in this Watch Dogs things I'll worry about later.
It seems the big takeaway I have this year is that it seems like everything's selling soft. Yep. And that indicates to me not necessarily like I was reading GameStop stats where console sales quarter over quarter I think are down, or like in years compared rather, are down 20% at GameStop, which is precipitous. And it raises the question, it raises the specter of, are there just too many games coming out? We haven't had this problem in a while, and I think that it's worth considering. Like, we might just have too many games now, which is a paradigm we haven't crossed in some years now since the middle ground really eroded. The good news about it is that all conventional wisdom, it reminds me of like Trump winning the presidency. Like, it throws all conventional wisdom out in political science. And I think with the way games are performing and also finding these Dying Lights and these Far Cry Primals and all these games, the Untold Dawns, whatever, that come out in these weird places you would have never released a game 5 years ago, means that like the whole calendar's open and all conventional wisdom's out. So like a game coming out in July, or, I mean, we even made fun of The Last of Us coming out around E3, which was strange, but it worked out fine. So I do think that there has to be a breathing room, but I also think that there's a volume of games that are coming out that are similar to each other. And I do think that I've said it before, I love open world games, but I do think there's going to be a fatigue about these games, which is why I really am convinced that Sony can't possibly have all of these games being open world, which is why I think Sucker Punch's new game, for instance, will not be open world. Yeah. Otherwise, like, that's it. Like, this is just, everything's the same. These are the games that are coming out now are reactions to movements that seem to have come and gone in gaming. For instance, Titanfall 2 is a reaction to everyone's, exclamation where's. Yeah, exactly. But it seemed to have come at the sake of some multiplayer functionality, and also Titanfall is just not a thing, and it's not going to be a thing. And I know that that's sad for some people, but it's just not. It's like I really love Resistance. And I would play a Resistance game every year, but I'm under no illusion or delusion that I'm going to get a Resistance game ever again, because I was one of the only people that really loved it the way I loved it. That doesn't diminish your love of Titanfall 2, which is to say, and not yours, but anyone's love of Titanfall 2, which is to say, like, I really do think publishers need to be a little more strategic about not only when they're releasing games, but what they're greenlighting. And I think people are hungry for a new IP. I'm super interested to see how that game Steep does. You know,
I think it's gonna fucking shit the bed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably.
I mean,
but who
no
are they marketing it at,
for.
and where's it going? I mean, that was their marquee game at E3, and they're certainly trying to probably play the outdoorsman crowd or the snow sports kind of people. You might see commercials for that on ESPN or at X Games one day or whatever. I just feel like there's an appetite for some different things, and video games are so reactionary and they take so long to develop that we are seeing reactions to things that were, you know, in the zeitgeist years ago. I mean, I think a lot of this shit has to do with Mass Effect. I think a lot of this shit has to do with Fallout, and
this is the problem with AAA games, though, right? Where it is that, all right, cool, we're gonna make Watch Dogs. All right, we're gonna make Dishonored. All right, we're gonna make Horizon. And before Horizon's been played by fucking person one, they're out there talking about how they want this to be a franchise and they want this to be marketing opportunities. I forget what the story was from months ago or whatever, right? Where they were looking into how they could explore that fiction in different ways and stuff. And that is what Titanfall is, right? Where it's like, there's Titanfall action figures, there's Titanfall bags, there's Titanfall this, and who's buying it? Like Titanfall, I love Titanfall 1 for the month I played it, and then I was like, okay, cool, I'm on to other things, and I never really thought about it again, and I played it here, and I liked it, and the few people who have played it have liked it, but are they going to support the Titanfall novelization? No, like that's not what anybody needs. That not everything needs to be a fucking universe.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think that there's more to this story. It's going to require data and some engaged minds to figure out what has happened to the gaming industry this year, because consoles are selling well. I was reading in the GameStop story, for instance, the best-selling game at GameStop is Pokemon this year.
Yeah.
Now, that's not surprising, but it kind of is when you consider there's a Call of Duty game
and the fact
Battlefield game.
Pokemon Go is free. How are they making money on it at GameStop?
Sun and Moon. So I like, people still want software, and and this is the unintuitive part of it. People want really derivative software. I don't care what Pokemon Sun and Moon do that's different. That is some of the most derivative bullshit that's been going on in games for 20 years.
Sure,
but people want it. So there's a special sauce there too. I think the problem is super complicated. It's about marketing. It's about spacing games. It's about IP that don't need sequels. It's about risk aversion. There's a lot of factors, but I'd really love to see someone really smart that has the time and the access to data, which we no longer have, to figure out why this is happening. And it doesn't bode very well for future hardware as well. We talked about PS4 Pro doing well. I don't believe for a second that PS4 Pro is probably not flying off the shelf. I just don't. There is a stagnation right now. That I think needs to be addressed, but I don't know that it's going to be addressed by people or words. I think it's going to be addressed by future releases and kind of the trends that they're seeing now. My hope is that we get back to, for open world games and nonlinear games and choice-based games are great and they have a place and they're always going to have a place. But I want to see more tight, focused 8 to 10 hour linear campaigns, or at least things that give you that are linear but give you the feeling that they're non-linear. I think Infinite Warfare did a really nice job of that. It's non-linear. There's side quests, but it's all basically linear at the end of the day. So there's a lot of problems to address. I'm just not even sure what the problems necessarily are.
Yeah, that's the problem. Colin, you ready to meet your best friend?
Yeah.
P.S. I love this. Best friend XOXO is a segment where you write in, give us your PSN name. We, of course, then give it out to you, the other best friends, who send messages of support or friend requests. We have a serious one today, Colin, that has a question in there too. This comes from NeoCharge7. That's the PSN name as well. What's up, guys? Longtime listener of the show and big fan of everything you guys do and the community you have built. My longtime girlfriend / the woman I love / the most amazing girl in the world, Stacy, died of cancer after a 3-year battle with stage 4 melanoma a month ago. It is crushing and feels like a part of me died as well. Having gone through bone cancer myself with 1.5 years of chemo and 3 surgeries 10 years ago, this is honestly way more challenging to go through being on the other side. She was amazing and gamed with me almost every day. When we weren't playing Destiny together, we were staying up for midnight releases and always talking about the games we were playing. She was my best friend and we even eventually bought a house together. I miss her every damn day. I have found one solid coping mechanism that works well: gaming. My question to you is how do you use gaming as a way to cope with traumatic, devastating life events like this, and does this get better? I mean, I honestly don't know what I would do without being able to escape into video games at a time like this. Thanks, Matt, NeoCharge7. Again, NeoCharge7, his username, spelled the way you would think it would be. Send him his best friend request. Yeah, it gets better. That's the shitty word of advice that there is, Matt, that bad things happen to everyone, and this is especially fucking terrible, and it sucks this happened to you, but it gets better day by day. And so you're doing the right thing now, finding things you enjoy and committing to those, reaching out, continuing to talk to people. Of course, that's a huge part of it. Hopefully now having some more friends to play Destiny with, that'll be good too. But yeah, this stuff gets better. I think we've all used, I should speak for myself. I've used it for sure. I've famously at IGN wrote about going through my divorce and playing Infamous through that. But just in general, I think, games are the distraction that I'm able to shut things off if everything else is too noisy, if Kind of Funny's too busy, or if something else is going on, or if I'm in a fight, escape into a world I really, really love.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, your situation is tough because it's not a breakup; it's losing someone.
Yeah,
and someone you love, and that's a different kind of pain. That's a deeper kind of pain, I think, because it's not timing or chance or whatever. It's something serious, and I don't want to downplay that, but it does get easier. And some days they're going to be, one step forward, 2 steps back, I assume. But I think video games, much like books, much like movies, much like any form of entertainment, is a good escape as things become normal. And eventually, I do believe your life will become normalized and you will move on. But you'll always remember as well. My dad always told me, my dad was an FDNY firefighter for many years. He's a social worker now that works for the FDNY, dealing mostly with 9/11 families and people that were there because he was there. And he always says that it's important to feel the pain, to let it, to not hide from it or not avoid it, not go to the bottom of a bottle or anything like that.
Don't stuff
because
it
it's
down,
still
let
there.
It boil over. And
it has to come out and you have to feel it first.
Yeah.
So once you do, and once you feel it, and once you let your body feel it, and once you go through that pain, then you can exercise it. And video games might be a viable way for you to be able to do that. But definitely don't, I believe in escapism in a sense, but I also don't believe in it as the end-all solution to a problem that's still going to exist when you get back, whether you're waking up from a fucking hangover or whether you're getting out of a video game. It's all the same.
I mean, I'm sure, you're going through it right now, I think, and I think that's why I don't even bother bringing it up, and the fact that you're reaching out, and I'm sure at some point you probably felt stupid writing this email to two guys you don't know, or you're our best friend, as I always say, but you're writing to us about a woman we didn't know, about this thing, what you're going through, and we're here fucking talking about platinum trophies and stuff. I'm sure that felt goofy, but it wasn't, because that's the relationship we have. So if you continue to exhibit that and talk to the people and talk to your friends and talk to your people you raid in Destiny with and do all this different stuff, you're making the right choices. But yeah, it's about opening up and allowing yourself to feel it so you can move on and deal with it is great.
Keep your head up.
Yep. Colin, time for this week's Forgotten PlayStation game. This one comes from Outlaw Reaver. Over at kindoffunny.com/forums. Outlaw Reaver says, "Hey, Colin and Greg. I got a question for you dudes. Just wondering both of your thoughts on forgotten PlayStation IP or from large companies such as EA and Ubisoft. Why do franchises like Heavenly Sword and Dead Space become completely dormant instead of having more developers similar to Zanzaru pitching ideas for a new Sly Cooper and ultimately getting a chance to create a sequel or a reboot?" Like that, Colin? It's a Switch. It's not a game. It's a question about forgotten games. I think we already kind of answered it though, right? Not everything is going to be a fucking franchise.
Yep.
Dead Space had 3 chances and it was good, got great, but then it went nowhere. It's like that, you know what I mean? That's how it's got to be.
The original Dead Space is one of the great survival horror games of all time.
I'm not saying that. I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying Dead Space 2 was a better game than Dead Space 1, and everyone agrees.
But I'm glad you feel that way. The thing with Heavenly Sword is that Ninja Theory was ready to do the sequel, and I think that, I don't remember, it's so long ago, that they were in some sort of pre-pro or they had everything written up, and I think that Hellblade game is somewhat of a spiritual successor to Heavenly Sword. It might be in the same world. I was surprised that Heavenly Sword didn't get a sequel, specifically because when it came out in 2007, I think it was 2007. Yeah. It was really the first PS3 exclusive of any resonance for me, except for Resistance. So I was surprised that they didn't go forward with it as well. And I think if Heavenly Sword came out a year or two later, they probably would have gotten a sequel because more people would have played it and bought it. It still came out during that dead zone. By the time people really started to buy PS3s, Heavenly Sword was a fucking relic, Yeah. That game was fun though.
Oh yeah, totally.
And it didn't have trophies, and it was a whole.
There's a lot. There's a lot of reasons it was behind. Why it was behind the 8 ball in this one, and why it didn't do better. Yeah, not enough people had PS3s when trophies came around. They didn't go back and do that. Heavenly Sword, I think, honestly, could have been something, and just didn't.
Yeah, Heavenly Sword was a cool game. It's got God of War vibes to it too, though. So it might have felt a little redundant to people, but I'm somewhat surprised about that too. The interesting thing about PS3 though is that it only had. It had 2 God of War games, but really only 1 proper one. So I don't know that it would have necessarily interfered with each other, especially because they came out 3
totally
years apart.
not. And that's the whole thing is it would have been 2 that people loved. What's her name? I forget the protagonist. Noriko. People loved her, right? She was a strong female character. She had this cool thing going on. She was empowered. That would have been.
And she had that sister that shot the arrows and whatnot too, right? Then
yeah. Well, and that was the thing where I thought there was a rumor for Hellblade or whatever the fuck it's called, right?
That's about that.
That she had some time, but that was a rumor so long ago. I'm not sure if that's been debunked by now. Because again, that's a game where the fuck I haven't heard anything about that in quite a while.
There was something on the PlayStation blog about it recently. I think it's still going.
Just come on. Get it out already.
Ninja Theory is much smaller, I think, now. I think that, they made Enslaved after Heavenly Sword, and I think they haven't made anything since. No, they made DMC, but then after that, they've been working on this. I think there's a more truncated studio, but maybe we'll find out more at PSX. That, along with like Deep Down and a few others, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. I think Deep Down's gone. I don't know what's going on. I played Deep Down. The Japanese woman laughing at me because I couldn't play because I couldn't invert my controls, and she had no idea what I was saying, so I'm running around. Same thing when I played Castlevania. Lords of Shadow 2 at TGS, people were busting my balls in the comments because I'm like, I can't read to invert my controls. I'm doing the best I can do.
They don't want to hear that on the internet.
No, they don't care.
They just think you suck.
And guess what? So did Lords of Shadow 2. So.
No! Bada bing, bada boom. Colin, it's time for the PSN's worst name of the week. And I thought for sure this would be one of your predictions. That
name change?
Yeah, because it seems like all signs point to yes.
Totally intentionally leaving it off.
Yeah, because you don't want to jinx it. Just leave it alone.
Just do it. Just fucking do it. Although I was telling Tim
this is the time where it seems too clear, right? It seems too. We talked about it before. That guy emailed us a long time ago a PowerPoint presentation. Then the more
Unreal,
rumors.
Yeah, the Unreal patch notes have them changing the way that they deal with names. So the die is cast. The developers are getting instructions to render names differently now.
Yeah.
Which can indicate. I was reading one rumor that's saying that the change might be that like games that have the new patch notes. In other words, if your name is ABCDE and you want to name it, XYZ or whatever, in old games your name will still appear as ABCDE, but your name will appear in XYZ in newer games.
Gotcha.
Which I think might be the only way to solve the problem. But I'm of two minds where I think it's possible, but at the same time I think that I was even telling Tim, I'm like, I just don't know you can even make that announcement. Like that's something on the PlayStation blog that like you're just like, hey, you can do it now.
You do it there because the place will go
nuts. I don't know that PSX, I don't know that it will go nuts. I don't know about that.
At PSX, these dorks like us, they'll go nuts.
We thought that people would really go nuts for Vita shit, and I think even Vita reception's been pretty tepid. So, I don't know, but I feel like they're close. Okay. I feel like it's going to happen.
Anyways, worst PSN name of the week. You go to the forums, you put your bad PSN name up there, and we read it here so you can try to get Shuhei Yoshida to listen to you and let you change your name. This one comes from Alex Can't Think. That's his forum name, not what he's talking about here. What's up, Colin and Greg? Been a fan of you guys since the Beyond days, and I wanted to submit a PSN worst name of the week. This is actually my friend's name, not mine, but I had a large part in the creation of the name. Side note here, Colin. Stick with it, because it doesn't sound bad, and then we get there. The name DDD13. That's DEEDEEDEE 13, right? Not that bad when you hear it. Back in the year 2007, my friend was the first guy on the block to get his hands on a coveted PlayStation 3. Since I was the more technically inclined one, he invited me over to help set up his PSN account. When we got to the naming portion, we tried a number of names, all equally terrible, but to no avail. He says B-Ball Brandon, B-Rad, etc. In a fervor, and as a Carlos Mencia fan, I took the controller from his hands and typed in his catchphrase, "Dee-dee-dee." Adding 13 for my friend's age. The name was accepted. Now my friend has forgotten this moment in time until a few months ago when I reminded him of the situation. He now blames me for all the ill fortune he has received under his PSN name. Shuhei, please let us change our names.
It's time, Shuhei, please.
I was reading, I'm like, why did he submit this? And I was like, Carlos Mencia. I'm like, what's the...
Carlos Mencia, man. All I know about him is that he's stealing everyone's jokes. That
George Lopez laid him out.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan, I think, too, in person, right? Like,
I don't remember that one.
I think that like he walked on stage or something. There's some shit that happened like some years back.
Oh fuck, I gotta look into that one.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, 13 was brought to you by Movement Watches. Ladies and gentlemen, Movement Watches was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. Now, we here at PS I Love You XOXO get it. Holiday shopping can be tough, but thanks to Movement Watches, all the gift-giving anxiety can disappear with the press of a button. These watches make the perfect purchase for just about anyone in your life, guy or girl, and remember, they start at only $95. We've talked a lot about this. We all have these watches. They sent them in. Nick Scarpino, watch aficionado, He uses it all the time. I have the one with the black band, the black face, the red hands. It's very cool. It's stylish, Colin. You wear this? You heard of style?
I heard of style, but watches, I like these watches. They sent us some and they're nice. Still got the girl arms.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, which complicates issues.
Sure,
for me.
I understand that. That. Yeah, you don't want to call attention to.
And are you offended that I call them girl arms?
I'm not.
Oh well, don't know what to tell you about that.
I mean, if you said like the prepubescent boy arms, then I'd be all over here doing this.
Ew.
Moving watches started just $95 at a department store. You're looking at $400 to $500. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman, get rid of that retailer markup, and provide the best quality price. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movementwatches.com/love. That's in the description of the YouTube video. Don't worry about it because it's movement, MVMTwatches.com/love. Join the movement. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an epic PS I Love You XOXO. Remember, we are the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. We post every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and this is a product of kindoffunny.com. So please go there, subscribe to the 2 YouTube channels, watch the other shows, subscribe on iTunes, like the things, leave feedback. It all works out in the end to make us make better cool crap. Remember, PSX is this weekend, Saturday, over at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We will start at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time pre-show. Then we'll do reactions where we watch the stream with you at 10 o'clock. And then immediately following that, we'll do a live PS I Love You XOXO, which will be episode 64. That will then post immediately to YouTube, MP3 services. Then Tuesday, we'll put up our panel that we're doing Sunday at PSX, noon. Remember, 1 o'clock, you can come meet and greet us afterwards. Every episode of PS I Love You XOXO ends in a song and a segment we call Sing It as Shuhei. This is where one of you talented motherfuckers goes over to kindoffunny.com/PSM. You give me your song that you made. I need an MP3 to put at the end of our MP3. I need a YouTube video to annotate out to at the end of our YouTube video. Today, Colin Moriarty, we have a celebrity guest. This is Taylor Noel. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't know Taylor Noel. I know Taylor Swift. I know Joey Noel. Where's this hybrid? What if I told you, Colin Moriarty, Taylor Noel was the daughter of Deacon from Nashville? How's that? Huh?
That makes me like the real life daughter of Deacon?
Yeah, not in the show. No, not Maddie
Deacon's
in the show.
Okay,
not Maddie. Not Maddie. This is a real life.
Okay.
She's blood related to Chip.
Oh, that's
Chip
cool.
Eston. Yeah. She just put out a new...
My dude Chip.
Your boy Chip. She just put out a new EP called Out of My System. She says, hey, Greg, everyone knows internet friends are the coolest kind of friends. It would mean so much to me if you were able to play this. This is, what is it here? This is the song Too Good off of the EP Out of My System. She also just turned 21. So she got her whole life ahead of her. She's putting out music. We never did this. We could have done this.
I had an album with my band when I was like 19.
But can we go, is it out? Can you go get it right now?
No.
In
fact, I was talking about it with Ramon because I found Ramon's old In Simplest Form EP from when we were in college.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where any of my shit is. This was before
this
the
Paper Champ?
Paper Champ, yeah.
Yeah. When you get Paper Champ on Spotify?
I have to find the recordings first.
Somebody's got them. You're telling me
my friend
big old Betty Ann Moriarty doesn't have them?
Big old Betty Ann might have them.
Get some 8 tracks out there. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Taylor Noel off her new EP, Out of My System. The song, Too Good. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
I don't even know like what the cadence of it's supposed to be.
Carlos fucking Mencia.